Chapter 10:21. Although Lan Haitian and Zun Mo Qing were only left with their souls, the two innate saint treasures were extremely powerful. In order to kill each other, they didn't hesitate to burn their souls and activate the power of the two innate saint treasures. Watermark advertisement test soon. The forbidden space covered by the demon forbidden formation collapsed. Waves of destructive power were released through the cracks in space, destroying everything. Lan Haitian and Empyrean demon emotion were originally equal in strength, but Empyrean demon emotion's soul had just been attacked by the nine-dragon jade annulus and had suffered considerable damage. Now, Lan Haitian's unexpected attack had caused his injuries to worsen. The two innate saint treasures fought fiercely for more than an hour. Zun Mo Qing's soul gradually couldn't hold on anymore. His attacks were suppressed and his soul injuries were worsening. As expected of a heaven domain almighty, just his soul alone is so strong. If Lan Haitian didn't want to use me to attack Zun Mo Qing and then take over my body, he would have had a chance to kill me. Witnessing the battle between the two innate saint treasures, Yi Chunfeng felt the difference in strength. If it wasn't for the fact that he had the God-Eater brain and wasn't afraid of their schemes, Yi Chunfeng would have taken the opportunity to escape long ago. Great Shura Artis's injuries continued to worsen, Empyrean demon emotion began to go all out. He used his strongest divine ability. Billowing demonic energy fused together with the power of the death spirit bead, transforming into an Azura that seemed to have walked out from purgatory. Terrifying waves of energy rolled out, towering into the heavens, bringing with them a suffocating demonic energy and killing intent as they smashed towards the life spirit bead. Gu Jiangalan Haitian didn't dare to be careless when Zun Mo Qing performed the great Shura art. He burned his soul to the extreme at all costs, forming mountain-sized giant swords that slashed towards the Azura. When Lan Haitian performed the Gu Jianga attack, the giant swords chanted loudly, directly attacking Zun Mo Qing's soul. Sword heart connecting to the moon, moonlight conceals sword shadow, rainstorm pair sword, thunder roar. Too terrifying. This is the true divine ability of the heaven domain. Its power far surpasses the green heaven secret art. If I can cultivate it, my attack power will probably be the strongest in the fighting spirit continent. Yi Chunfeng, who was hiding in the distance, witnessed the battle between the great Shura art and Gu Jianga. His heart trembled. At the same time, the God-Eater brain in his mind was also rapidly deducing, trying to deduce the two heaven domains' top divine abilities. However, both the great Shura art and Gu Jianga were too profound. Even with the God-Eater brain's heaven-defying deduction ability, it couldn't deduce the truth in such a short time. However, the battle between the two of them had broadened Yi Chunfeng's horizons and allowed him to gain a great deal of comprehension and benefit from it. Great Shura technique break. Zun Mo Qing roared. The terrifying Shura arms were like two doomsday wheels, fiercely smashing down, breaking Lan Haitian's Gu Jianga and bombarding the spiritual pearl of life, injuring Lan Haitian's soul in the pearl. Lan Haitian, we haven't seen each other for hundreds of thousands of years. You've become even weaker. Someone as weak as you dares to scheme against me? You must be tired of living. After performing the great Shura art and injuring Lan Haitian's soul, Zun Mo Qing let out a savage voice and said arrogantly, Zun Mo Qing, don't think that your great Shura art can restrain my Gu Jianga. If I perform the last move of Gu Jianga, you'll die for sure. Lan Haitian said without backing down. Haha, Lan Haitian, even now you're still thinking highly of yourself. You couldn't even perform the last move of Gu Jianga at your peak, but now you can. Zun Mo Qing mocked without holding back, obediently accept your death. After that, Zun Mo Qing continued to perform the great Shura art, controlling the blood-soaked Shura to attack Lan Haitian. He wanted to destroy his soul and steal the spiritual pearl of life. My dear disciple, this old demon is too terrifying. Quickly come and help me fight. Although Zun Emoching's injuries were heavier than Lan Haitian's, his great Shura art was able to restrain Lan Haitian. Left without a choice, Lan Haitian could only put down his old face and ask for help from Yi Chunfeng. Good. With the help of the returning heaven's water, Yi Chunfeng, who had recovered a small portion of his soul force, rapidly approached. He continuously released the purple beginning's holy lightning that was extremely damaging to the soul, bombarding the spiritual pearl of death and affecting Zun Emoching's defense. Damn it, I'll kill you first. Repeatedly attacked by the purple beginning's holy lightning, Zun Emoching became more and more furious. He suddenly abandoned Lan Haitian and attacked Yi Chunfeng, wanting to kill Yi Chunfeng first. Humph! Don't even think about hurting my disciple. Lan Haitian's reaction was even faster. He controlled the spiritual pearl of life to block the spiritual pearl of death, not giving Zun Emoching the chance to get close and kill Yi Chunfeng. Disciple, ha, Lan Haitian, you bastard, you actually used such a despicable method to deceive that Tian clan brat, making him obediently sell his life to you. Zun Emoching laughed loudly and said, if I'm not wrong, after he helps you kill me, you'll probably seize his body. Nonsense, don't even think about destroying the relationship between me and my disciple. Lan Haitian said angrily. Lan Haitian, you hypocrite, don't be hypocritical. If you didn't want to monopolize the two pre-celestial sacred treasures and sneak attacked me, we wouldn't have ended up like this today. Zun Emoching said disdainfully, but this brat's physical body is very strong, and there are many secrets in his body. He is indeed the best target to seize. Even I am a little tempted. Master, you guys. Hearing the conversation between Lan Haitian and Zun Emoching, Yi Chunfeng quickly hid in the distance, revealing a trace of fear. But in his heart, there was a trace of expectation. He hoped that Lan Haitian and Zun Emoching would seize his body, so that he could use the God-Eater brain to destroy their souls and obtain their inherited supernatural power. My good disciple, don't be afraid. Master will never harm you. Lan Haitian saw Yi Chunfeng hiding in the distance and gnashed his teeth in hatred. At this time, if Yi Chunfeng was scared out of his wits, then all his efforts would be in vain, and he would most likely die here. Haha, Lan Haitian, don't you blush when you say this? Zun Emoching laughed and said, since you want to be a hypocrite, then I will fulfill your wish. Such a good body, let me seize it. With that, Zun Emoching injected all his burning soul power into Shura, shattering the mountain-like ancient sword light that chanted the sound of Tao and attacked Yi Chunfeng. Don't even think about it. Lan Haitian saw that Zun Emoching also wanted to seize Yi Chunfeng's body, and became anxious. He controlled the spirit bead of life to block Shura, using the power of this pre-celestial sacred treasure to resist the grand Shura art and the spirit bead of death. But the moment the two pre-celestial sacred treasures collided, Zun Emoching's soul suddenly abandoned the spirit bead of death and attacked Yi Chunfeng like a sharp black blade. He wanted to break his sea of soul, devour his soul and seize his body. Disciple, dodge. Lan Haitian, who lost the initiative, shouted. Without thinking, he quickly left the violently trembling spirit bead of life and chased after Zun Emoching's soul, not giving him a chance to seize Yi Chunfeng's body. Seeing Zun Emoching and Lan Haitian's souls flying over, Yi Chunfeng was stunned in midair. But under his control, his God-Eater brain appeared in his sea of soul, accumulating energy, ready to launch a fatal blow at the two souls. Puff! Zun Emoching's soul broke through Yi Chunfeng's sea of soul defense and broke into his sea of soul. Suddenly, a large amount of blood flowed out from his 7 orifices. Then, Lan Haitian's soul also broke into Yi Chunfeng's sea of soul. If it wasn't for the God-Eater brain protecting Yi Chunfeng's soul, the two souls would have shattered Yi Chunfeng's soul. God-Eater brain, devour! Just as Zun Emoching and Lan Haitian's souls were about to fight to the death in Yi Chunfeng's sea of soul, the God-Eater brain appeared, forming a devouring whirlpool that engulfed the entire sea of soul. Under their terrified gazes, the whirlpool swallowed them whole. No, what was this? Never in their wildest dreams would they have thought that there would be such a terrifying existence in Yi Qinfeng's sea of soul. Immediately they struggled to break free. But after 6 transformations, the God-Eater brain had become extremely terrifying. Their souls struggled for more than 10 breaths before they were torn apart and devoured by the whirlpool, disappearing from the world forever. Mobile reading site, book address. For the convenience of your next reading, you can click on the Save button at the bottom to record your reading history. You will be able to see it the next time you open the bookshelf. Please recommend this book to your friends, QQ, blog, WeChat, etc. Thank you for your support. Chapter 1022. Phew, I finally dealt with them. The moment the God-eating brain devoured Lan Haitian and Zun Emoqing's souls, the stabbing pain in his head disappeared. Yi Qinfeng, who was bleeding from his 7 orifices, let out a long sigh of relief and smiled. He took a deep breath and resisted the dizziness and pain in his head. He put away the 2 ownerless pearls of life and pearls of death and dripped his blood on them to claim ownership. After keeping them in his body, he controlled the God-Eater brain to quickly refine their souls. Whether it was Lan Haitian or Zun Emoqing, their souls were extremely strong after being nourished by the 2 saint treasures. They didn't dissipate even after 1,000,000 years. When the God-eating brain was refining them, it split out a large number of new brain cells and started its 7th evolution. Although the God-eating brain's evolution was very slow in the past few times, this time, after devouring the souls of 2 heaven domain experts, its evolution speed greatly increased. In less than 10 days, the God-eating brain completed its 7th evolution. Not only did it condense 2 soul fragments, it also split out a 7th God-eating brain. Phew, not bad, not bad. As I expected, the God-eating brain refined Lan Haitian and Zun Emoqing's souls and completed its 7th evolution. Yi Qinfeng revealed a faint smile and muttered to himself, I wonder if these 2 soul fragments are the great Shura art or Gu Jianga's cultivation chant. With a trace of expectation in his heart, Yi Qinfeng calmed down and sent his soul into the 2 soul fragments. There was only Gu Jianga's cultivation chant, but not the great Shura arts. When his soul entered the 2 soul fragments, Yi Qinfeng found that one of the fragments was Gu Jianga's cultivation chant, and the other was the soul memory of a pill refiner. When Yi Qinfeng browsed through the pill refiner's soul memory, he found that the pill refiner's attainments in pill refinement were extremely deep. He was definitely the best in the fighting spirit continent, reaching the heaven domain level. If he could fuse with his soul memory, it would greatly increase his pill refinement and pill refinement abilities. Looks like I'm not fated with the great Shura art. However, obtaining Gu Jianga's cultivation chant is not a small fortune. That blacksmith alchemist's soul memory is even more important to me. Merging with his soul memory should greatly increase my success rate in concocting the heavenly saint-breaking pill. After adjusting his state of mind, Yi Qinfeng decided to first understand Gu Jianga's Wuang Heavenly Palace's inherited abhijna to increase his trump card. But in the process of understanding Gu Jianga, Yi Qinfeng showed a hint of disappointment. He realized that this soul fragment only contained the first level of Gu Jianga's cultivation chants, but not the rest. Although he could only practice the first move of Gu Jianga, this move was extremely powerful. When attacking, it would produce the sound of Tao that would confuse one's mind. At the moment of the attack, the power of the will of the Great Path would also increase exponentially. It would be able to split the sky and cut off mountains and rivers. Its level definitely surpassed that of ordinary sacred techniques, and its power was probably even above that of the true dragon transformation. Never thought that revisiting old haunts would bring me such a harvest. No matter if it was the 2 Khanate Saint treasures or Gu Jianga, they were all great opportunities. Any one of them could cause great waves. Yi Qinfeng planned to cultivate here for a while to understand the 2 abhijnas. Then, He would try to merge the two connate saint treasures into his body to further enhance his physical potential and enhance his own strength. Sword puppet, Xingluo's doppelganger, protect me. Don't let anyone disturb me. Yi Chunfeng summoned the two doppelganger to protect himself. He controlled the God-Eater brain to deduce Gu Jiang's first move, sword heart connecting with moon. Time flew by quickly as he cultivated. Soon, a month had passed. During this month, the news of the great changes in the Yu family spread like wildfire across the entire eastern continent. All the forces were shocked. Even the other continents knew about it and fell into a state of shock. However, the Kirin kingdom, which had suffered great losses, gave up on the idea of killing Yu Nikhang, Yi Chunfeng, and the others. Instead, they focused on breaking the restrictions of the abyss of hell located in the depths of the Eastern Sea. They wanted to seize the great opportunities in the abyss of hell as soon as possible and leave the strange Eastern continent. Under the efforts of the experts of the Kirin kingdom led by Qianling of Gojoseon, the restrictions around the abyss of hell were constantly loosened. A large number of space cracks appeared at the bottom of the Eastern Sea. Finally, under the efforts of the experts of the Kirin kingdom, the restrictions around the abyss of hell were broken, revealing the entrance to the abyss of hell. When the entrance to the abyss of hell appeared, the East Sea Palace immediately sent several death servants into the abyss of hell to investigate. However, not long after the death servants entered the abyss of hell, their life cards, which were closely related to their lives, were shattered. This dispelled the idea of Qianling of Gojoseon and the others immediately. Sword heart connecting with moon. After more than a month of training, Yi Chunfeng finally grasped the first move of Gu Jianga with the help of the God-Eater brain. As he swung his sword, the sound of the great Tao resounded. The mountain-like sword light, which was branded with the imprint of the great Tao, was like a bright moon shining high up in the sky. It released an endless pressure of the great Tao, shattering everything, and fiercely swung towards the distance. Boom! The white bone gorge trembled, and a large number of space cracks appeared. A sword mark that stretched for an unknown number of miles spread out in the white bone gorge. The terrifying sword power shattered the thick bones in the gorge, and the whole gorge shook violently as if an earthquake had occurred. Not bad, not bad. The power of the sword heart connecting with moon was indeed extraordinary. With this kind of power and the sound of the great Tao that could disturb one's soul, even a peak level 6 combat beast emperor might not be able to resist it. Looking at the broken space and the bottomless sword mark in front of him, Yi Chunfeng revealed a faint smile. He was very satisfied with the power of the first move of Gu Jianga. After grasping the sword heart connecting with moon, Yi Chunfeng began to try to merge the two innate holy treasures into his acupoints. Although Yi Chunfeng was still unable to refine the two innate holy treasures with his current strength, as long as he could merge them into his acupoints and nourish them with the energy of his acupoints, sooner or later, he would be able to refine the two innate holy treasures and unleash their power to the extreme. The bead of dead spirit was mainly used for attacking. Yi Chunfeng decided to merge it into the Shenmen acupoint on his wrist. Once the bead of dead spirit was merged into the Shenmen acupoint, Yi Chunfeng's attack power would not only be greatly enhanced, but also be accompanied by a deadly attack. The bead of life was filled with a powerful life force. Yi Chunfeng merged it into the Shenting acupoint, which was located at the central hub of the human body. In this way, the power of the bead of life could slowly transform Yi Chunfeng's body and accelerate his recovery through the central hub. The divine change of 9 transformations was known as the number 1 body refinement skill of the celestial race. It should be able to merge the two innate holy treasures into his acupoint. Yi Chunfeng adjusted his state and circulated the divine change of 9 transformations over and over again. He took the risk of merging the two innate holy treasures into his Shenmen acupoint and Shenting acupoint. During the process, Yi Chunfeng was extremely nervous. He was afraid that he would not be able to withstand the power contained in the two innate holy treasures and cause immeasurable damage to his body. However, the process was surprisingly smooth. The two innate holy treasures that Yi Chunfeng had dripped his blood on did not resist. They allowed Yi Chunfeng to circulate the divine change of 9 transformations and merge them into his Shenmen acupoint and Shenting acupoint. When the two innate holy treasures merged with his acupoints, Yi Chunfeng unexpectedly discovered that the Tao will of life and death he cultivated had reached perfection and condensed into the Tao diagram of life and death. Few success. Feeling that the two innate holy treasures had merged perfectly with his acupoints and he had condensed the Tao diagram of life and death, Yi Chunfeng heaved a long sigh of relief. He felt that everything was unreal. The divine change of 9 transformations was indeed the #1 body refinement skill of the celestial race. Feeling the changes in his acupoints, Yi Chunfeng could not wait to find someone to test his improved battle strength. Mobile reading website, book address. For the convenience of your next reading, you can click on the Save button at the bottom to record this reading record. You will see it the next time you open the bookshelf. Please recommend this book to your friends, QQ, blog, WeChat, etc. Thank you for your support. Chapter 1023. Golden-haired Iron Ape, are you willing to submit to me? Yi Chunfeng returned to the universe realm and looked at the golden-haired Iron Ape that had recovered from its injuries and was being bullied by the Chaos Divine Beast. Watermark advertisement test. Watermark advertisement test. Don't even think about it. I will never submit to a human as weak as it. The golden-haired Iron Ape looked at the single-horned flood dragon that was swallowing the liquid spirit energy in the forest with disdain, and said with a voice that sounded like a muffled drum, "All right, then I'll give you a chance. Take 3 of my punches. If you can still stand after 3 punches, I'll let you go and won't bother you in the future. But if you can't even take 3 of my punches, then you'll have to submit to me obediently." Yi Chunfeng looked at the unruly golden-haired Iron Ape that had copper skin and iron bones and was breathing heavily and suggested. The real golden-haired Iron Ape's eyes lit up and said with some doubt, "If I can take 3 of your punches and not fall down, then you'll let me go." "Since I've said it, then I won't lie to you," Yi Chunfeng smiled faintly and promised. "All right, if I can't even take 3 of your punches, then I'll submit to you and follow you forever without any hesitation." The golden-haired Iron Ape was very confident in its defense and didn't believe that it couldn't even take 3 of Yi Chunfeng's punches. It patted its strong chest and said, "No, I only need you to submit to me for 10 years. After 10 years, if you can't break through to become a saint beast, then I'll give you back your freedom." Yi Chunfeng shook his head and refused. "Let's talk about it after you defeat me first." The golden-furred Iron Ape glared, revealing a look of anger. A powerful demonic force erupted from its huge body. Berserk! The golden-haired Iron Ape roared into the sky and used its inherited supernatural power. A powerful berserk energy exploded from its body and rapidly increased its combat power and defense power. "Get ready, I'm going to start my attack power." When the golden-haired steel ape unleashed its berserk divine ability to the maximum and its physical defense reached its peak, Yi Chunfeng reminded it and stimulated the power of his 5 apertures. His physical strength instantly soared to 50 million jin. After fusing with the spirit pearl of death in his Shenmen acupoint, his physical strength soared to another 15 million jin. Crack! Yi Chunfeng took a step forward, directly cracking the ground beneath his feet. His entire body turned into an afterimage, and in the blink of an eye, he appeared in front of the golden-haired ape's huge body. Dragging the light of power behind him, he ruthlessly punched towards the golden-haired ape's chest. Seeing Yi Chunfeng blasting through the air and smashing towards it, the golden-furred steel ape quickly used both of its palms to block Yi Chunfeng's punch. As the fists and palms collided, the power of the dead spirit orb in the Shenmen acupoint erupted. The powerful force of death fused with the strength of 80 million gene and fiercely bombarded the golden-haired iron ape's palms. The impact forced the ape to take 3 steps back. What kind of power is this? Sensing that its palms had been struck by Yi Qinfeng's punch, causing a large amount of its muscles to wither and its palms to shrivel up, the golden-furred metal ape opened its bell-sized eyes wide, revealing a terrified expression. Be careful of the second punch, Yi Qinfeng reminded the golden-furred ape as he ignited his divine demon bloodline. His physical strength was forcibly raised to 150 million gene, further stimulating the power of the dead spirit orb, erupting with a strength of 200 million gene. He then sent a punch towards the golden-furred metal ape that had turned pale with fright. In the previous punch, the golden-furred metal ape's arms had been severely damaged by the dead spirit orb, greatly weakening its defense. But this time, Yi Qinfeng had increased his attack power by nearly 3 times, breaking through the golden-furred metal ape's defense with a single punch. The golden-furred metal ape, which was over 10 meters tall, was sent flying, heavily crashing into a hard boulder in the distance. Large amounts of blood spurted out from its mouth. The life of my arms has been severed. The golden-furred metal ape looked at its rapidly withering arms and felt the connection between it and its arms getting weaker and weaker. It immediately panicked. If it lost its arms, then even if it lived, there would be no meaning. Its dream of becoming a holy beast would also be shattered prematurely. There's still one last punch. If you can still stand after receiving my last punch, then I'll let you leave. Yi Qinfeng looked at the golden-furred metal ape that was crawling up from the ground and sweating profusely. He revealed a domineering aura as he arrogantly said, Wait. After experiencing the terror of Yi Qinfeng's attack, the golden-furred metal ape panicked and loudly shouted. However, Yi Qinfeng turned a deaf ear to its cries. He stomped on the ground that spanned 1 mile, erupting with a strength of 150 million gene. He sent out a third punch towards the golden-furred metal ape's chest. The muscles in its arms withered and gradually lost all feeling. The golden-furred metal ape was unable to use its arms to defend. If it was hit by Yi Qinfeng's fist that was filled with the power of death, it felt that its vitality would be like its arms, forcibly severed by Yi Qinfeng. If its vitality was severed, then even if it regained its freedom, there would be no meaning. Helpless, the golden-furred metal ape revealed a frightened expression and loudly shouted, Stop, I admit defeat, I admit defeat. When the golden-furred metal ape shouted that it admitted defeat, Yi Qinfeng's fist was already on its strong chest. The power of death in the fist directly penetrated its body's defense and surged into its body, making it feel as if it had stepped into the gates of hell. After admitting defeat, Yi Qinfeng revealed a faint smile and said, Then are you willing to submit to me? I am willing to submit to you. The golden-furred metal ape lowered its noble head and said helplessly, But after I submit to you, can you restore the vitality in my arms? I don't want to lose my arms. Sure. Yi Qinfeng nodded and said straightforwardly, Thank you. Hearing that Yi Qinfeng could really restore the vitality in its arms, the golden-furred metal ape revealed a trace of madness. Seeing that the golden-furred metal ape chose to submit, the one-horned flood dragon, who was just ridiculed by it, revealed a trace of disdain and was ready to find a chance to ridicule it. All right, you don't have to resist now. I will put a mark on your soul. But don't worry, the mark I put on you won't have much effect on you. Yi Qinfeng ordered without any room for resistance. Yes. The golden-furred metal ape slowly closed its eyes and allowed Yi Qinfeng to use his beast-taming technique and put a soul mark on its soul. Spiritual fish, I will leave the metal ape to you. If it is convenient, you can teach it some of your divine ape bloodline's inherited superpowers. It should be helpful. Yi Qinfeng called over the spiritual fish, who was trying to break through to the level 4 combat beast emperor realm, and said slowly. The golden-furred metal ape of the divine ape bloodline widened its bell-sized eyes and looked at the cute spiritual fish with a red face. It said in disbelief, "Aren't you a human? Who said that humans can't have the divine ape bloodline?" The spiritual fish's eyes curved into a crescent shape and said cutely, "Big metal ape, you will follow me from now on. You will be responsible for protecting me, and I will teach you my divine ape bloodline's superpowers. Alright, it's a deal. If anyone dares to mess with you, I will fight them to the death." Feeling the spiritual fish's bloodline that was far superior to its own, the golden-furred metal ape's bell-sized eyes revealed a burning color. It looked at the spiritual fish as if it had found a treasure, and patted its chest to promise. "Alright, you guys can cultivate here." Yi Chunfeng revealed a faint smile and controlled the spiritual pearl of life to restore the vitality in the golden-furred metal ape's arms. He said, "Hundun, let's go to the Skylock Matrix." After speaking, Yi Chunfeng left the universe realm with the divine beast of chaos and went to the Skylock Matrix at the heart of the Death Ridge. Mobile reading site, book address. To make it easier for you to read next time, you can click the Save button at the bottom to record this reading record. You will see it the next time you open the bookshelf. Please recommend this book to your friends, QQ, blog, WeChat, etc. Thank you for your support. Chapter 1024. As expected, after losing that finger, the power of the Heavenlock Array was greatly reduced. Yi Chunfeng looked at the Heavenlock Array, which was like a black hole, surrounded by array patterns that intertwined with each other like snake. It exuded a dangerous and restrictive aura. He felt that the current Heavenlock Array's power was less than 1% of its peak. With his strength, he still had a chance of breaking it. "Boss, the Heavenlock Array's array core is inside the Heavenlock Array. If we want to break the array, we have to go deep into the Heavenlock Array." The Chaos Divine Beast had been suppressed by the Heavenlock Array for hundreds of thousands of years and had some understanding of the Heavenlock Array. "Okay, let's enter the array." Yi Chunfeng nodded and walked into the pitch-black heaven ceiling formation with the Chaos Divine Beast. There was not a single ray of light in sight. Buzz, buzz. As soon as Yi Chunfeng walked into the Heavenlock Array, an earth-shattering soul energy surged into his soul sea and attacked his soul. As his strength increased, Yi Chunfeng's soul energy became even stronger. He could easily withstand the soul energy attack in the Heavenlock Array. He followed the Chaos Divine Beast and quickly walked towards the array core. As they walked, Yi Chunfeng felt the spatial pressure in the Heavenlock Array suddenly increase. It was like a towering mountain pressing down on his body. As they went deeper, the soul energy attack and spatial pressure in the Heavenlock Array increased exponentially. However, Yi Chunfeng's body was comparable to a mid-grade Dao artifact. This kind of pressure couldn't affect him. How? As Yi Chunfeng and the Chaos Divine Beast quickly entered the Heavenlock Array, deafening beast roars rang out. A large number of beast souls refined by the Heavenlock Array appeared. They opened their bloody mouths and bit at Yi Chunfeng and the Chaos Divine Beast, wanting to devour them. Purple Beginnings Holy Thunder. Thunder was the nemesis of all soul bodies. As a large number of beast souls attacked, Yi Chunfeng's body immediately surged with Purple Beginnings Holy Thunder. It carried a powerful destructive force and attacked the surroundings, tearing the approaching beast souls apart. Crash! When Yi Chunfeng used his methods to break through the mysteries of the Heavenlock formation, the sound of chains rattling could be heard. In the next moment, several silver chains that seemed to contain the power of the sun, moon, and stars tore through the dark space and attacked Yi Chunfeng and the divine beast of chaos like a long dragon. Emperor Heaven's Sword break. Back then, the heaven-locking chains in the heaven-locking formation had posed a fatal threat to Yi Chunfeng. Now, Yi Chunfeng's strength had increased by more than 100 times, reaching the level of a 4th-grade beast emperor. And because the heaven-lock formation had lost half of its finger, its power was greatly reduced. It couldn't harm Yi Chunfeng at all. As Yi Chunfeng attacked with the Empyrean Heaven Sword, the heaven-locking chains that tore through the void were constantly shattered by Yi Chunfeng. Yi Chunfeng continued to follow the Chaos Divine Beast and soon arrived at the heart of the heaven-locking formation. What was that? Yi Chunfeng relied on his absolute attacks to tear open the restrictions outside the heart of the heaven-locking formation. When he entered the heart of the formation with the Chaos Divine Beast, he realized that there was a huge ball of light floating in the heart of the heaven-locking formation. Within the ball of light there were many mystical array patterns. That ball of light is the heaven lock at the heart of the heaven-locking formation. The heaven-locking chains that attacked us just now were formed by the heaven lock. As long as we break the heaven lock, the heaven-locking chains and the heaven-locking formation that locked my bones will disappear. The Chaos Divine Beast said. Sword Puppet, go and test the power of the heaven lock. Yi Chunfeng sensed that the power of the heaven lock wasn't to be underestimated. He summoned the indestructible Sword Puppet and ordered it to get close to the heaven lock to test its power. Buzz, buzz. The Sword Puppet wielded a mid-grade Dao artifact dragon head saber. When it slashed at the heaven lock, streaks of blinding white light rang out from the heaven lock. Hundreds of extremely powerful Dao patterns surged out from the heaven lock and instantly turned into heaven-locking chains. They locked the Sword Puppet inside like a prison and attacked it crazily. Under the attacks of the heaven-locking chains, the power of the Sword Puppet was rapidly depleted. Every time the Sword Puppet tore open a heaven-locking chain, it would be bound by a new heaven lock. The heaven-locking formation was indeed the work of a demon monarch. Even after its power was reduced by 90%, it still had such attacking power. Sensing that the power of the Sword Puppet was rapidly depleted, Yi Chunfeng revealed a look of astonishment. He pondered for a moment and summoned Xingluo's clone to attack the heaven lock together with the Chaos Divine Beast. Heaven Sword Boundless Yi Chunfeng exploded with astonishing power and tore open the heavy pressure that surged out from the heaven-locking formation. He flew into mid-air and unleashed several Dao intents and crazily infused them into the Emperor Heaven Sword. He slashed out with his sword and the boundless sword aura tore open the space of the heaven-locking formation. It was unstoppable like the boundless Dao and slashed at the heaven lock. Crack! After receiving Yi Chunfeng's sword attack, a slight crack appeared on the heaven lock. Large amounts of formation patterns leaked out from the crack and formed heaven-locking chains that sealed the void space. They wanted to lock Yi Chunfeng and strangle him to death. 3 great bloodlines ignite. As the densely packed heaven-locking chains attacked, Yi Chunfeng immediately ignited his 3 great bloodlines. Borrowing the power of the Chaos Divine Tree, he forcefully fused the 3 great bloodlines together and increased his physical defense and combat power. 3 heads and 6 arms following which, Yi Chunfeng transformed into his 3 heads and 6 arms ultimate form. He wielded a sword, an axe, a hammer, a halberd, a dagger axe, and a shield. He attacked ferociously and unleashed his physical strength to the extreme, forcefully shattering the heaven-locking prison. The Chaos Divine Beast's 2 clones also attacked with all their might and continuously shattered the heaven-locking chains that coiled around the void space. Gu Jianga, Heart of the Sword Bright Moon. The moment Yi Chunfeng controlled his 5 arms to block the attacks of the heaven-locking chains, he immediately executed the Gu Jianga that he had just mastered and slashed at the heaven-locking chains. An invincible sword radiance shot out from the Emperor's celestial sword and resonated with the sound of the great Tao that made one want to worship it. It was like the bright moon shining high up in the sky, splitting the rivers and unleashing boundless Tao intent. It shattered a large number of heaven-locking chains and slashed at the heaven-locking chains. The power of this sword was too strong and exceeded the limits of what the space could withstand. Large patches of space collapsed along with the trajectory of the great Tao sword radiance. Crack! After being attacked by Yi Chunfeng's Sword of the Bright Moon, the heaven-locking chains trembled violently and cracked once again. However, as more and more cracks appeared on the surface of the heaven-locking chains, the formation patterns of the heaven-locking chains became denser and denser. This created quite a bit of trouble for Yi Chunfeng and the Chaos Divine Beast. True dragon transformation. Seeing that Yi Chunfeng's body was bound by a large number of heaven-locking chains, he immediately transformed into a true dragon with a dragon's prowess that shook the heavens. He swayed his huge body and brought along a destructive power as he forcefully tore apart the densely packed heaven-locking chains. He slammed into the heaven-locking chains that were becoming more and more cracked, increasing the number of cracks on the heaven-locking chain. 9 Dragon Jade Annulus break. Before the thousands of heaven-locking patterns could fly out from the cracks, Yi Chunfeng took out the 9 Dragon Jade Annulus and spat out 2 mouthfuls of blood into it. He activated the Saint Artifact's spirit and injected soul power into the 9 Dragon Jade Annulus continuously. He formed a ferocious dragon that was about to strike the heaven-locking chains. After being attacked by the 9 Dragon Jade Annulus head-on, a hole appeared in the heaven-locking chains. The power of the heaven-locking formation also decreased. Spiritual Fish, King of Massacre, Mo Fengyun, Dragon Blood Lion, Single Horn, Iron Ape, Pegasus, Two-Headed Lizard, worked together to break the heaven-locking chains. Yi Chunfeng, whose soul power was almost depleted by the 9 Dragon Jade Annulus, summoned all his helpers and attacked the heaven-locking chains together. Boom! Boom! After rounds of ferocious attacks, the severely damaged heaven-locking chains finally broke apart with everyone's combined strength. Mobile reading site, book address. For the convenience of your next reading, you can click on the bookmark button at the bottom to record this reading record. You will be able to see it the next time you open your bookshelf. Please recommend this book to your friends, QQ, blog, WeChat, etc. Thank you for your support. Chapter 1025. Phew, it's finally broken. Seeing the heaven-lock formation disappear, Yi Chunfeng, whose soul power was almost depleted, heaved a sigh of relief. He took a big gulp of heaven-returning water and quickly recovered his soul power. Watermark advertisement test. Watermark advertisement test. At the same time, the spiritual pearl of life in Yi Chunfeng's Heaven's Hall Meridian released a large amount of life energy and merged with his body to speed up his recovery. Oh, bones, my bones, I finally found you! The Chaos Divine Beast roared excitedly as it saw the huge bones that were scattered on the ground not far away. They were flowing with light and contained demonic runes. It was so powerful. What a powerful strength! Just how did it cultivate? How did it cultivate its skeleton to such an extent? Looking at the Chaos Divine Beast's bones, the one-horned flood dragon and the golden-furred iron ape felt the difference in their levels. They were shocked and looked at the Chaos Divine Beast in a different light. Boss, protect me. I want to refine my bones again and try to form my original body. The Chaos Divine Beast said with bright eyes. Don't worry, with us here, no one will disturb you. Yi Chunfeng nodded and said, Thank you, boss. After saying that, the Chaos Divine Beast appeared beside the huge bones that it had left behind years ago. Feeling the familiar aura from the bones, it was so excited that its body trembled. Soul fire burn. The Chaos Divine Beast did not fuse with its bones immediately. Instead, it performed its inherited ability and released all the energy in its soul. It turned into a burning soul fire and ignited the white tiger's bones. It wanted to melt the white tiger's bones and use the refined energy to repair its own bones before fusing with them. Although the Chaos Divine Beast's soul fire was powerful, the white tiger's bones were still the bones of a saint beast. It was extremely difficult to melt them. The Chaos Divine Beast performed its inherited ability and spent a whole month to melt part of the white tiger's bones. Melt. The Chaos Divine Beast used the pure bone fluid from the white tiger's bones to fuse with its own bones to repair the damage caused by the heaven-lock chain. After fusing with the white tiger's bone fluid, the surface of the Chaos Divine Beast's bones reflected a large amount of light and turned into mysterious demonic runes. It instantly attracted the attention of Jin Qing, the dragon blood lion, the golden-furred iron ape, and the other heavenly beasts. How powerful was the strength at the peak of chaos! Looking at the flowing demonic patterns on the surface of the Chaos bones, Yi Chunfeng felt that every bone of the Chaos Divine Beast was extremely valuable. It was fatally attractive to demonic beasts. After absorbing a large amount of bone fluid, the cracks on the surface of the Chaos Divine Beast were being repaired. New bones were growing out of the damaged parts. Around 2 months later, the Divine Beast of Chaos released its flame of soul and completely melted the White Tiger's bones. It melted all the refined bone fluid into its bones and successfully repaired the damage to its bones. Bones fusion. Looking at its perfect skeleton, the soul of the Chaos Divine Beast immediately dived into the skull, which was glowing with demonic runes. It released a powerful soul power, starting from the skull and refining the entire skeleton. He wondered how much power Chaos could regain after fusing with its bones. Yi Chunfeng looked expectant. If the Chaos Divine Beast could return to being a sacred beast, then he would have the ability to fight against the 3 kingdoms. Rumble. When the Chaos Divine Beast was refining the bones to its tail, a series of deafening thunder sounded. Large patches of dark clouds swept in from all directions like surging tides. They formed a dark tribulation cloud above the head of the Chaos Divine Beast. Divine punishment. Looking at the tribulation cloud that was getting thicker and thicker, Yi Chunfeng shouted, "Everyone, retreat quickly! Leave the area where chaos is undergoing tribulation. This seems to be the sacred beast divine punishment. The boss of chaos is going to break through to the sacred beast realm." Jin Qing Dragon Blood Lion sensed the destructive aura from the tribulation cloud and felt its soul tremble. It whispered, "With the strength of chaos, it shouldn't be difficult to pass the sacred beast divine punishment." The Chaos Divine Beast was one of the most powerful divine beasts in the universe. Its strength was extremely terrifying. Yi Chunfeng believed that chaos could find the bones and pass the sacred beast divine punishment. If it was in the heaven realm, with the strength and talent of the boss of chaos, it could definitely pass the sacred beast divine punishment and transform into a sacred beast. But in this low-level space, it might be dangerous. Because the sacred beast exceeded the power limit of this world, it was likely to attract the power of this world to kill it. Therefore, it was very difficult for the boss of chaos to break the shackles and transform into a sacred beast. Jin Qing Dragon Bloodlion said, "The power of the world could kill Yi Chunfeng." He raised his eyebrows and showed a trace of seriousness. "So, the sacred beast divine punishment is very dangerous. At least in this space, I don't have the courage to challenge the sacred beast divine punishment." Jin Qing Dragon Bloodlion nodded and said, "Chaos, these 2 spirits of life are for you in case you need them." The Chaos Divine Beast was very important to Yi Chunfeng. Yi Chunfeng was afraid that it would have an accident during the tribulation, so he gave the 2 precious spirits of heaven to the Chaos Divine Beast. "Don't worry, boss. The sacred beast divine punishment is not difficult for me. Watch me break it later," the Chaos Divine Beast said with a high fighting spirit. The raging fighting spirit seemed to tear the sky apart. "Okay, we will protect you from the side." Yi Chunfeng nodded and quickly retreated. He patiently waited for the Chaos Divine Beast to pass the tribulation. Boom, boom, boom. The thunder in the tribulation cloud became louder and louder. A suffocating pressure came out of the tribulation cloud, forming a terrible hurricane, sweeping the heaven and earth. There were so many beast shadows in the tribulation cloud. Was this the legendary 100 Beasts tribulation? Looking at the beast shadows in the tribulation cloud, Jin Qing Dragon Bloodlion, who once lived in the Qingyun realm, opened his eyes wide and guessed the truth of the Chaos Divine Beast divine punishment. 100 Beasts tribulation? How powerful is this 100 Beasts tribulation? Feeling the aura in the tribulation cloud, the golden-haired iron ape opened his eyes wide and asked in shock. The 100 Beasts tribulation was very powerful and rarely seen in the Qingyun realm. Only the purest divine beasts could touch this sacred beast. Jin Qing Dragon Blood Lion explained in detail. The purest divine beast? The golden-haired iron ape and the one-horned flood dragon looked at each other and saw the bitterness in each other's eyes. Compared to the chaos divine beast, they were nothing. If they did not work hard to cultivate, they were not qualified to follow Yi Chenfeng. Howl! As they spoke, deafening beast roars came out of the thick tribulation cloud. The terrifying sound could swallow mountains and rivers, causing the heaven and earth to change and the clouds to tremble. In the next moment, a large number of beast shadows with Tao patterns broke out of the thick tribulation cloud. There were real dragons, real phoenixes, cheilants, black tortoises, and flying snake. A large number of divine beasts, which were rarely seen in the Qin-Yun realm, carried a shocking destructive power and Tao will. They attacked the chaos divine beast that had just merged with its skeleton. Come on, damn heavens! Grandpa Chaos is invincible! The chaos divine beast roared to the sky and controlled the skeleton with demonic patterns. It flew up and collided with the terrifying 100 Beasts tribulation. Mobile reading site, book address. To make it easier for you to read it next time, you can click on the Save button at the bottom to record your reading record. You will see it the next time you open the bookshelf. Please recommend this book to your friends, QQ, blog, WeChat, etc. Thank you for your support. Chapter 1026. Boom, boom, boom. When the catastrophe of 100 beasts hit the divine beast of chaos, there was a deafening explosion. Endless destructive hurricanes swept through the void, stirring up the space within dozens of miles. It was chaotic and muddled. Watermark advertisement test chaotic 5 elements light attacked by a large number of divine beast Tao shadows. The divine beast of chaos immediately opened its mouth and spat out a large amount of destructive chaotic 5 elements light, bombarding the divine beast Tao shadows. In order to break through the catastrophe of 100 beasts, all the divine beast Tao shadows had to be destroyed. Under the full attack of the divine beast of chaos, a ferocious true dragon Tao shadow was shattered. Dozens of heaven's punishment power bombarded the divine beast of chaos, blasting it from mid-air to the ground, creating a large crater. Great, this is great. Let the heaven's punishment come more violently. The divine beast of chaos relied on its bones that were harder than a supreme-grade Tao weapon to withstand the attack of the catastrophe of 100 beasts. It was not injured. It roared arrogantly and continued to charge forward, bombarding the divine beast Tao shadows that were charging at it. Under the full attack of the divine beast of chaos, the divine beast Tao shadows were torn apart one by one, turning into a large number of pure Tao patterns that merged into the skeleton of the divine beast of chaos. However, the catastrophe of 100 beasts that could destroy a supreme-grade Tao weapon could not break the defense of the skeleton of the divine beast of chaos. The damage done to it was very limited. What a strong defense! I wonder if the power of the world will appear at the last moment. Yi Chenfeng's sharp gaze pierced through the chaotic space. He looked at the catastrophe cloud that was tumbling violently in the void, constantly producing divine beast Tao shadows. He was secretly worried. If the power of the world appeared, it would definitely threaten the life of the divine beast of chaos. Chaotic Mountain. The divine beast of chaos fought fiercely for more than an hour. Its bony body suddenly enlarged, turning into a mountain of white bones. With an endless suppressive power, it bombarded the divine beast Tao shadows that were roaring ferociously and spewing Tao will light. With a single strike, the shadows of several divine beasts were shattered. The terrifying power caused the void to tremble incessantly. Howl! The destruction of so many divine beast Tao shadows completely enraged the 100 beast tribulation. Dozens of terrifying divine beast Tao shadows quickly gathered under the influence of the rapidly spinning tribulation clouds. Soon, they formed a divine beast Tao shadow that was identical to the divine beast of chaos. This chaos divine beast Tao shadow had merged with the remaining power of the 100 beast tribulation. Its power was far greater than all of the chaos divine beast Tao shadows, and it posed quite a threat to the Chaos Divine Beast. Chaotic light of 5 elements. Looking at the Chaos Divine Beast Tao shadow that was even larger and more powerful than itself, the Chaos Divine Beast Tao shadow's fighting spirit increased instead of decreasing. It opened its bloody mouth and spat out Chaos 5 elements light that flowed like the Milky Way toward the Chaos Tao shadow. How the Chaos Tao shadow's enormous body was filled with light of calamity. A roar that could swallow mountains and rivers was released from its mouth. It instantly shattered the space within a kilometer, surging and shattering the Chaos 5 elemental light as it bombarded the Chaos Divine Beast. Chaotic mountain sensing the space in front of it shattering, the Chaos Divine Beast immediately transformed into a mountain-like body. It was like a moving mountain, forcefully shattering the Chaos Divine Shadow's roar. However, the roar's power was beyond imagination. The Chaos Soul still suffered significant damage, and its soul light dimmed a little. The Chaos Tao shadow continued to attack. Its terrifying killing intent changed the color of heaven and earth, and its attacks shattered the void. It destroyed the Chaos Divine Beast's counterattack with ease. Soon, the Chaos Divine Beast's attacks were suppressed. Its bones that were covered with demonic patterns also suffered some damage. Starfall earthquake. The damage to its bones continued to increase, and the Chaos Divine Beast went berserk. It mobilized the vast energy accumulated in its soul and forcefully used its strongest inherited ability. Its enormous body turned into a white bone star covered in connate Tao patterns and fell toward the Chaos Tao shadow. At this moment, the star that the Chaos Divine Beast had transformed into became the only thing in space. All the light and energy in the void were sucked away by it, amplifying the power of its attack. Boom boom! The white bone star ruthlessly smashed into the Chaos Tao shadow. Rays of dazzling light filled the sky, like a blazing sun exploding in the void. The blinding light made people unable to open their eyes. After receiving the full power of the Chaos Divine Beast's attack, cracks immediately appeared on the Chaos Tao shadow's enormous body. Its entire body was sent flying hundreds of meters away. Starfall earthquake. The Chaos Divine Beast didn't waste this excellent opportunity. It released the accumulated energy in its soul again, turning into a white bone star that crashed into the Chaos Tao shadow, determined to shatter it. Under the Chaos Divine Beast's relentless attacks, more and more cracks appeared on the Chaos Tao shadow. Its pillar-like forelimbs were shattered by the Chaos Divine Beast's starfall earthquake, turning into a large number of Tao patterns that merged into the Chaos Divine Beast's bones. Yes, a new power was born in the tribulation clouds. Seeing that the Chaos Divine Beast's ferocious attacks were restraining the Chaos Tao shadow and crushing its enormous body, Yi Qinfeng's powerful soul discovered that a new power had appeared in the violently tumbling tribulation clouds. This power was so strong that it surpassed the 100-beast tribulation. It seemed that the dragon bloodlion was right. The Chaos Divine Beast's tribulation in the Fighting Soul Continent had violated the rules of the Fighting Soul Continent's heavenly Tao. Once it passed the 100-beast tribulation and transformed into a sacred beast, it would attract the world power of the Fighting Soul Continent to destroy it. Yi Qinfeng sensed that the new power in the tribulation clouds was similar to the heavenly Tao power of the Fighting Soul Continent. He knew that the world power had appeared, and a hint of seriousness appeared on his face. He fused several sky crystals and almost all of the supreme-grade soul crystals into the sword puppet's body. He was prepared to let the sword puppet protect the Chaos Divine Beast when its life was in danger. Chaos Mountain, shatter! The Chaos Divine Beast roared and transformed into a towering Chaos Mountain again. With the power to annihilate everything, it smashed heavily on the shattered Chaos Tao shadow. The powerful force directly smashed the Chaos Tao shadow's head. More than 100 million pounds of force gushed into the Chaos Tao shadow and almost crushed its enormous body. Holy Beast, heavenly punishment, is this all you've got? Your Grandpa Chaos is not satisfied yet. Give me more strength. The Chaos Divine Beast, whose strength was constantly increasing after fusing with a large number of Tao will runes, shouted loudly, provoking the power of heavenly punishment. Sigh, this pig. I wonder if it will cry when the world power descends. Yi Chunfeng shook his head and smiled bitterly as he looked at the arrogant Chaos Divine Beast. The Chaos Divine Beast continued to shout and attack. Its ferocious attacks continuously shattered the Chaos Tao shadow that was covered in wounds and fused with Tao will runes. Finally, under the ferocious attacks of the Chaos Divine Beast, the Chaos Tao shadow was shattered and turned into thousands of Tao will runes. They were branded on the bones of the Chaos Divine Beast and greatly increased its strength. Just as the Chaos Divine Beast was about to use the Tao will contained in the 100 Beasts tribulation to rebuild its body, a terrifying force tore apart the tribulation cloud that was hundreds of feet high and split the void in half. With the power to annihilate everything, it slammed into the arrogant Chaos Divine Beast. The terrifying force blasted the Chaos Divine Beast from mid-air and smashed a big hole in the ground. 1/3 of its bones were shattered and its soul was riddled with holes. The moment the Chaos Divine Beast passed the 100 Beasts tribulation and transformed into a holy beast, the world power of the Duhan continent descended. I will post a picture of the Chaos Divine Beast tomorrow night. If you want to see it, please add me on WeChat, YLTY83 mobile reading site, book address. To make it easier for you to read it next time, you can click on the bookmark button at the bottom to record this reading. You will be able to see it the next time you open the bookshelf. Please recommend this book to your friends, QQ, blog, WeChat, etc. Thank you for your support. Chapter 10:27. Damn it, what kind of power is this? How dare you play with me? Grandpa Chaos will not let you off. Feeling its bones cracking, the Chaos Divine Beast burned its soul at all costs to activate the Tao will imprinted in its bones to resist the power of the world of the Duhan continent. However, the power of the world was too terrifying. The Chaos Divine Beast, which had not completely transformed into a sacred beast, could not resist it at all. Seeing that its bones were about to be crushed by the power of the world, it quickly merged with a life spirit. With the powerful recovery power of the life spirit, it repaired its broken bones and resisted the baptism and impact of the power of the world with all its might. Sword Puppet, help quickly! Sensing that the Chaos Divine Beast's life was in danger, Yi Chunfeng did not hesitate to order the Sword Puppet to help. Whoosh! There was an ear-piercing sound as the Sword Puppet increased its speed to the maximum and flew toward the Chaos Divine Beast that was being bombarded by the power of the world. It used its indestructible body to block the Chaos Divine Beast and relieve the pressure on it. Chaos, quickly break through to the sacred beast realm. If you want to resolve the crisis in front of you, you must transform into a sacred beast to have a chance of survival. Yi Chunfeng lowered his voice and transmitted it into the Chaos Divine Beast's ears as he instructed. Power of the Tao will, merge with my body and reconstruct it. The Chaos Divine Beast, whose pressure was greatly reduced, immediately performed its inherited magic and quickly merged with the power of the Tao imprinted in its bones. While using the life spirit to repair the cracks in its bones, it reconstructed its body and tried to break through to the sacred beast realm with all its might. 1/10, 1/5, 1/3 of its energy had been consumed. Yi Chunfeng had merged almost all of his supreme-grade soul crystals into the Sword Puppet's body, including 3 low-grade heaven crystals. However, such a vast amount of energy had been consumed by 1/3 of the power of the world after a dozen breaths. Yi Chunfeng kept thinking of ways to weaken the power of the world. 9 Dragon Jade Annulus, attack! Yi Chunfeng gritted his teeth and summoned the 9 Dragon Jade Annulus. He poured almost all of his soul power into the 9 Dragon Jade Annulus and controlled the 9 Dragon Jade Annulus to form a deadly dragon. It soared into the clouds and attacked the chaotic void, attacking the source of the power of the world. Dong dong dong. After being attacked by the 9 dragons Jade Annulus, a loud sound like that of a bell rang out in the void. The terrifying sound spread for dozens of miles, shattering large patches of vegetation and rocks. The entire void was filled with cracks like a spider web, as if it was about to collapse. The power of the world's origin was attacked by the nine-dragon jade annulus, and its power was instantly reduced. This greatly reduced the sword puppet's energy consumption and bought more time for the Chaos Divine Beast. At this moment, the Chaos Divine Beast was no longer arrogant. He focused on reconstructing his physical body and undergoing the most fundamental transformation to break through to the Saint Beast realm. However, under the baptism of the power of the realm, the speed at which it was fusing with the power of the Great Tao increased exponentially. Its bones became harder and harder, and its potential was being stimulated bit by bit. About 13 breaths later, the source of the power of the world shattered the absolute kill-mad dragon and recovered its strongest power. Like a waterfall of the Milky Way, it collapsed space and bombarded the sword puppet. Soon, the sword puppet's energy was depleted, and it was sent flying by the terrifying power of the world. The Saint Beast was transforming. The Chaos Divine Beast used the time that the sword puppet and Yi Chunfeng had bought for it to fuse with the power of the Great Tao that had just been branded into its bones. It successfully reconstructed its physical body and accelerated the process of transforming into a Saint Beast. The energy in its body was also increasing rapidly during the process of transforming. It was rapidly changing in quality as it resisted the bombardment of the power of the world with all its might. Damn it, who is scheming against me? If I find out, I'll sit on him and kill him. The newly reconstructed physical body was continuously being crushed by the power of the world. The Chaos Divine Beast was in so much pain that it grimaced and cursed loudly as it resisted. Hearing that the Chaos Divine Beast still had the energy to curse at the heavens when its life was at stake, Yi Chunfeng was a little speechless. Life Spirit Fuse. Seeing that the newly reconstructed physical body of the Chaos Divine Beast was being crushed by the power of the world, it fused with the last bit of Life Spirit and borrowed the power of the Life Spirit to repair its physical body. Just as its physical body continued to shatter, repair, shatter, and repair, it finally completed its final metamorphosis. Through the baptism of the Great Tao power and world power imprinted in its bones, it broke through the shackles of its realm and metamorphosed into a sacred beast. Boss, lend me that coffin in the universe realm. The moment it transformed, the Chaos Divine Beast let out a high-pitched cry and shouted loudly. Okay. Yi Chunfeng nodded and took out the hard bronze coffin that weighed hundreds of thousands of jin. It was the corpse of the buried Star Emperor. He threw it out with all his might. It flew toward the Chaos Divine Beast like a long dragon. Battle form. After catching the bronze coffin that Yi Chunfeng threw, the Chaos Divine Beast immediately executed its bloodline ability. The demonic energy in its body rose steadily. Its two eyes pierced the heavens, and its entire body became incomparably mighty. It transformed into its strongest battle form. The Chaos Divine Beast held the huge bronze coffin in its hand and erupted with more than 150 million jin of strength and soaring demonic energy. It waved it rapidly and resisted the power of the world that was continuously descending. Spiritual Pearl of Life. Accelerate recovery. Yi Chunfeng drank an entire bottle of returning heaven water. He controlled the spiritual pearl of life in his shunting meridian and poured down a large amount of power of life to accelerate the recovery of his soul power. He was waiting for an opportunity to continue attacking the source of the power of the world and help the Chaos Divine Beast break through this life and death crisis. Time passed by minute. The Chaos Divine Beast in its battle form was bathed in the power of the world and bathed in blood. However, the power of the world was too terrifying. It kept shattering the bronze coffin and damaging the Chaos Divine Beast's body. Its mighty body was bombarded into a bloody mess. As its injuries worsened, the Chaos Divine Beast's attack speed became slower. However, it did not give up. It gritted its teeth and persevered bitterly. It waved the bronze coffin that was full of cracks and branded with innate Tao patterns. It shattered the power of the world bit by bit and made a final struggle. Everyone, pay attention. Listen to my orders. Follow me and attack the source of the power of the world with all your might. We will help the Chaos Divine Beast break off the power of the world's attack. Sensing that the Chaos Divine Beast situation was not good, Yi Chunfeng, who had recovered about 70% of his soul power, shouted and burned 3 of his bloodlines. He transformed into the ultimate form of 3 heads and 6 arms. He circulated the green heaven secret art at a high speed and condensed the heavenly Tao disc on his 6 arms. Attack! Under Yi Chunfeng's order, the heavenly Tao disc on his 6 arms shot out at the same time and bombarded the source of the power of the world. The moment he attacked, the King of Massacre, Mo Fengyun, the spiritual fish, and the other heavenly beasts attacked at the same time. Streaks of Tao skills and demonic light shot up into the sky, trying to destroy the source of the power of the world that was hidden in the tribulation clouds. 9 Dragon Jade Annulus, attack! Yi Chunfeng shot out 6 heavenly Tao discs and immediately injected all of his soul power into the 9 Dragon Jade Annulus. He condensed the ultimate killing frenzy dragon and bombarded the source of the power of the world with everyone's attack. Boom! 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 A series of earth-shattering explosions sounded in the turbulent tribulation clouds. The terrifying power destroyed the source of the power of the world and weakened the falling power of the world. The stars sink and the earth quake, seizing the opportunity. When the power of the world was weakened, the Chaos Divine Beast transformed into a huge star again and shot up into the sky. It continuously shattered the falling power of the world and bombarded the tribulation clouds that were riddled with holes. Borrowing everyone's strength, it forcefully destroyed the source of the power of the world. Mobile reading site, book address. For the convenience of your next reading, you can click on the Collect button at the bottom to record this reading record. You will be able to see it the next time you open the bookshelf. Please recommend this book to your friends, QQ, blog, WeChat, etc. Thank you for your support. Chapter 1028. Damn God! Go on. Go on. Go on. Kill me if you have the guts. With the power of the world gone, the divine beast of chaos regained its arrogance. It stepped into the void and roared. Watermark advertisement test. Watermark advertisement test. Chaos. It was the power of the world of the Duhan continent that attacked you. If you continue to provoke the heavenly axiom of the world, the power of the world might come down again. Even the gods can't save you then. Yi Chunfeng looked at the divine beast of chaos, shook his head, and warned it seriously. Let's go. We don't want to stay in this death ridge anymore. Let's get out of here first. After that, Yi Chunfeng put everyone and the heavenly beasts into the universe mirror and flew quickly to the entrance of the death ridge. Since Yi Chunfeng had been in the death ridge before, he left the death ridge with ease. He returned to the polar land of life and death. After a few hours of flying, he left the polar snow forest. He rode on the fast Pegasus and flew toward the Misty Mountain. After about a day, Yi Chunfeng arrived at the Misty Mountain. He found that after months of reconstruction, the Misty Mountain looked brand new. There were new pavilions in the mountain. However, because the spiritual veins were destroyed, the spiritual qi in the Misty Mountain was not rich. Misty Heavenly Palace, Chunfeng, I thought you forgot about us after you got married. Shui Piaoling looked at Yi Chunfeng, who had touched her heart, and showed a complicated smile. She jokingly said, "Why don't you bring the bride to meet us? Are you afraid that she will be jealous?" Nick Hang is gone. Cloves sighed softly and revealed a bitter smile as he spoke. Chunfeng is gone. What happened between you and Miss Yu? Shui Piaoling frowned slightly and asked in surprise. Well, it's a long story. Yi Chunfeng sighed softly and told her what happened to the Yu family without hiding anything, including Yu Nichang's real identity. What Lady Yu was the reincarnation of the Void God Realm's supreme expert. Now, her memories from her past life were awakened. She tore open the spatial world and returned to the Void God Realm? After listening to Yi Chenfeng's narration, Shui Piaoling had a strange feeling. Yu Nichang's identity was beyond her imagination. She didn't expect that Yu Nichang had such a secret. And I didn't expect Nichang's background to be so big. Yi Chenfeng took a deep breath and said, "But no matter how big the obstacles are, I will ascend to the Void God Realm to find her. Yes, as long as you have confidence, there will be a day when the snow will fall." Piaoling nodded and said, "Sister Piaoling, I brought you a spirit bamboo this time. Transplant it to the source of Misty Mountain's spirit veins. It can slowly restore Misty Mountain's withered spirit veins and restore Misty Mountain's spirit chi." Yi Chenfeng was not stingy. He took out a million-year-old celestial purple bamboo and gave it to Shui Piaoling. What kind of bamboo is this? How can its spirit chi be so strong?" Feeling the spirit chi in the celestial purple bamboo, Shui Piaoling's eyes widened in surprise. "This celestial purple bamboo is an item from the heaven realm. It is more than 1,000,000 years old. I got it by chance." Yi Chenfeng introduced it softly. An item from the heaven realm that was more than 1,000,000 years old. Shui Piaoling gasped. Even in the misty immortal realm, there was no other spirit chi that could be compared to it. "Other than this celestial purple bamboo, I am going to spend some time to help you set up a spirit gathering array and a mountain protection array to protect Misty Mountain from being invaded." Although Yi Chenfeng wasn't a disciple of Misty Mountain, he had deep feelings for Misty Mountain. He didn't want anything to happen to Misty Mountain, so he decided to stay here for a while. While Yi Chenfeng was staying at Misty Mountain to set up the Spirit Gathering Array and Mountain Protection Array, Mo Fengyun secretly left Misty Mountain and went to the Eastern Continent's Yu family under his instructions. He asked Mo Fengyun to go to the Yu family because he guessed that the Yu family's foundation had been shaken. They would do everything they could to rely on the Kirin Kingdom and enter the abyss of hell with them. If Mo Fengyun could gain the trust of the Yu family, he could use Mo Fengyun to follow the Yu family into the abyss of hell, which was closely related to his origin. "Hun Dun, I have something very important for you to do. Are you willing to do it?" Yi Chenfeng spent a few days to set up a huge spirit gathering array in Misty Mountain. However, the Misty Mountain spirit vein was severely damaged because of the battle back then. Even with the celestial purple bamboo and many spirit chi seeds, Misty Mountain wouldn't be able to recover to its original state in decades or even centuries. "Boss, there's nothing I can't do now." The divine beast of chaos patted his chest proudly and said. At this time, the divine beast of chaos turned into a burly man. His face was so chiseled that it looked like it was carved by a knife. His eyes were like torches and his body was full of explosive energy. His eyes were so sharp that no one dared to look at him directly. The energy that he gave off made him even more powerful. "Go to the junction between the western land and the southern land and move a spirit mountain back to me." Looking at the arrogant divine beast of chaos, Yi Chenfeng said with a faint smile. "Boss, are you kidding me?" The divine beast of chaos widened his mouth and was dumbfounded. "Didn't you just say that there's nothing you can't do? Why are you backing out now?" Yi Chenfeng looked at the divine beast of chaos and said with a faint smile. "Boss, with my current strength, although I can move a mountain, isn't the distance a little too far? I think I'll be exhausted halfway." The divine beast of chaos scratched his head and said with a lack of confidence, "How about this? I'll move the spirit mountain back. It should be better than moving a mountain." "Okay, then go and come back quickly." Yi Chenfeng didn't want the divine beast of chaos to move the mountain. He just wanted to suppress his arrogance. "Don't worry, boss. I'll move all the spirit mountains back in a month at the latest." After knowing the exact location of the spirit mountain, The divine beast of chaos immediately left the misty mountain and went to the spirit mountain to excavate the spirit mountain's spirit mountain. After the divine beast of chaos left, Yi Chunfeng didn't hold back. He summoned thousands of array flags and scattered them in every corner of the misty mountain to set up the 1,000-kill array. Once the 1,000-kill array was formed, the explosive attack was enough to kill a level 4 combat beast emperor. Time passed day by day. Because the area to set up the array was too big, Yi Chunfeng spent a lot of effort. Took him almost a month to complete the 1,000-kill array. During this time, the divine beast of chaos used his inherited ability and swallowed the 8 heavy spirit mountains' spirit mountain. He brought them back and integrated them into the misty mountain. After integrating the 8 spirit mountains, the misty mountain immediately went through an earth-shaking change. In addition, the spirit gathering array continuously gathered the spirit chi of heaven and earth. The misty mountain became a paradise. Sister Piaoling, these heaven tools, earth tools, soul arts, soul skills, and spirit pills are all for you. They will be the foundation of the misty mountain. Yi Chunfeng took out some of the treasures he obtained from years of killing and gave them all to Shui Piaoling. Although these treasures were almost useless to the current Yi Chunfeng, they were extremely precious and important to Shui Piaoling and the Misty Mountain. With these treasures and jade slips, the Misty Mountain would not be far away from making a comeback. As Yi Chunfeng did not know when he would return after leaving this time, he spent a lot of time with Ji Qingxue, Bai Xia, and Fu Yuwei while waiting for news from the devil Fengyun. He used several pseudo-Dao pills to help them lay the most solid cultivation foundation. He also imparted several powerful Dao arts and Dao skills to them. Just as the Misty Mountain was undergoing huge changes day by day, and Yi Chunfeng was imparting cultivation experiences to the girls, the devil Fengyun finally sent news that he had successfully gained the trust of the Yu family. The 3 holy lands led by the Kirin Kingdom were also preparing to gather in the East Sea and head to the abyss of hell together. Mobile reading site, book address. To make it easier for you to read it next time, you can click on the Save button below to record this reading record. You will be able to see it the next time you open the bookshelf. Please recommend this book to your friends, QQ, blog, WeChat, etc. Thank you for your support. Chapter 1029. The East Sea was the most mysterious and vast sea among the 4 continents. It covered the boundless space and hid countless opportunities and dangers. Watermark advertisement test. Watermark advertisement test. Some people said that there were ancient saint beasts living in the Eastern Sea. With a single roar, they could shatter the heavens and shatter the earth. They could swallow a mountain in one gulp. Others said that there were caves and treasures left behind by ancient powers in the East Sea. If one could get it, he or she would be reborn and become omnipotent. However, the abyss of hell did exist in many legends. The Kirin Kingdom had paid a great price to tear open the seal of the abyss of hell and open the gate of hell, which attracted the attention of many parties. Originally, the Kirin Kingdom wanted to take all the opportunities in the abyss of hell. However, the abyss of hell was too dangerous. Many masters of the Kirin Kingdom died because of it. Therefore, the Kirin Kingdom asked the East Sea Palace, the Yu family, and the 9 Serenities Mountain to help them explore the abyss of hell and reduce their own casualties. Young Master Yi, when we meet them, we can only call them master and disciple. Please don't blame them, Mo Fengyun said respectfully. It's okay. Yi Chunfeng shook his head and said, You just need to do as I say. Yi Chunfeng, Mo Fengyun, and the 5 men of sacrifice from the West Devil sect met up and left for the East Sea immediately. After a day or so of traveling, Yi Chunfeng and his group of 7 met up with Yu Gu, Yu Rao, and Yu Chan at a seaside town near the East Sea. Although Yu Gu and the others had recovered from their injuries, they were not in good spirit. Obviously, they had not recovered from the shock and were worried about Yi Chunfeng's revenge. This was also the reason why they took the risk and entered the abyss of hell. Only by relying on this big tree, the Chilan divine nation, and then obtaining some opportunities from the abyss of hell would they have the hope to protect the Yu family and preserve their lives. Otherwise, with Yi Chunfeng's strength and talent, he would be able to remove the Yu family from the eastern continent in no time. Mo Fengyun, can the 6 of them be trusted? Yu Chan asked coldly as she glanced at Yi Chunfeng and the others. Don't worry, the head of the Yu family, the 6 of them are my trusted aides, and Xian Shu is my disciple, so he can be trusted. Mo Fengyun guaranteed, as he pointed at Yi Chunfeng and the others who were controlling the illusory Dao insight and changing their appearances. Disciple, when did you accept a disciple? Yu Gu said with some surprise. His deep eyes shot out rays of light as he looked at Yi Chunfeng, whose appearance had changed greatly, as if he wanted to see through him. However, Yi Chunfeng had cultivated the illusory Dao insight to the 9th heavenly layer, and his soul was much stronger than Yu Gu's. Yu Gu couldn't see through him at all. I accepted him a long time ago, but I was afraid that he would be harmed, so I kept him hidden. This abyss of hell is a great opportunity, so I brought him here to experience it. Mo Fengyun said slowly as he had already thought of what to say. The reason why he introduced Yi Chunfeng was because he was afraid that Yi Chunfeng would be sacrificed too early and cause unnecessary trouble. So that's the reason. But your disciple's talent is not bad. He has cultivated to the level of a grade 1 combat beast emperor at such a young age. He is a talent that can be molded. Yu Gu felt that Yi Chunfeng and the others were fine, so he nodded and said, "Let's go. We will go to the Eastern Sea and meet up with the people from the Kirin Kingdom." After that, they flew out of the seaside town with more than 20 people. They flew towards the rendezvous point and met up with the people from the Kirin Kingdom, who had arrived early and were waiting for them. Qianling of Gojoseon and the 8th Prince were not here. Looking at the people from the Kirin Kingdom, who were meditating with their eyes closed, Yi Chunfeng realized that Qianling of Gojoseon of Nirvana and the 8th Prince, who had a grudge against him, were not here. It seemed that Qianling of Gojoseon and the 8th Prince were seriously injured and wouldn't be able to recover in a short time. They should have returned to the Kirin Kingdom to recuperate, Yi Chunfeng said silently in his heart. While listening, Yi Chunfeng found out that the person leading the people from the Kirin Kingdom this time was Marquis Qianming of Nirvana. Apart from him, there was also an old man who everyone called Old Zay. He was Nirvana. In order to obtain the great opportunity in the abyss of hell, the Kirin Kingdom had arranged an extremely luxurious lineup and sent several old monsters of the Nirvana realm. However, Nirvana's Commandant had lost his life in Yi Chunfeng's hands, and the Kirin King had been seriously injured by Yu Nikhang. This had greatly weakened their overall strength. In the evening, the people from the 9 Phantom Mountain arrived at the East Sea Palace one after another. However, because the Heaven's Sword Palace and the 3 Holy Lands were getting further and further away, and because they didn't want to get involved in this mess, they didn't participate in this operation. All right, since everyone is here, let's rest here for the night. Tomorrow morning, we will enter the East Sea and head to the abyss of hell. A protector of the Kirin Kingdom looked at the experts of the 3 Holy Lands and coldly instructed them. Then, he closed his eyes and continued to adjust his breathing, waiting for the sun to rise. The night passed quickly. After adjusting their breathing for the night, the experts of the various powers had adjusted themselves to their peak condition. Under the lead of the Marquis Qianming, who was wearing dark golden armor and emitting an extraordinary aura, and the blue-robed Old Zay, who had a cold expression, everyone flew into the air and quickly flew towards the East Sea. The East Sea was too vast. With everyone's speed, they had to fly for 3 days before they arrived at the abyss of hell. What a terrifying restriction aura! Yi Chunfeng secretly released his soul force. Within the surging waves of the sea, he could feel the strength of the restriction. This restriction was so strong that it surpassed all the restrictions that Yi Chunfeng had encountered before. Below us is the hidden space of the abyss of hell. When we enter the sea later, everyone must be careful. Due to the restriction of the abyss of hell, the space in the sea is extremely fragile. From time to time, spatial cracks will appear. Once you are swallowed by a spatial crack, with your strength, you will not be able to survive. Other than the spatial cracks, the demonic beasts near the abyss of hell are also extremely terrifying. Old Zay and I have encountered 2 level 9 heavenly beasts, black howling whales. The Marquis Qianming stepped into the air as he coldly instructed. After saying that, he and Old Zay took the lead, breaking through the rippling azure sea surface and swimming towards the bottom of the sea at an extremely fast speed. Let's go! The experts of the Kirin Kingdom and the other 3 powers followed closely behind. They all jumped into the sea, following the Marquis Qianming and Old Zay as they swam towards the abyss of hell at the deepest part of the sea. As they swam, suddenly, the fragile space at the bottom of the sea trembled. A several-kilometer-long spatial crack appeared, like a large devouring mouth. It released a destructive force, attacking the experts who were swimming at an extremely fast speed. No. 2 disciples of the 9 Nether Mountain who were unable to dodge in time were hit by the destructive force. Their bodies were riddled with holes, and in the end, they were swallowed by the 2 spatial cracks. Not even their bones were left behind. Everyone, spread out. Don't gather together. Seeing that 2 disciples of the 9 Nether Mountain had died before they even entered the abyss of hell, the Marquis Qianming's face became extremely gloomy as he loudly ordered. The East Sea was indeed extremely dangerous, and the abyss of hell was probably even more dangerous. The Kirin Kingdom had gathered so many experts to enter the abyss of hell, probably to use them as cannon fodder to reduce their risk. Yi Chunfeng muttered in his heart as he silently followed behind Mo Fengyun. They swam towards the bottom of the East Sea, where they couldn't even see their own fingers. After passing through a large number of seals hidden in the sea, Yi Chunfeng and the rest arrived at the bottom of the East Sea, above an oceanic trench that stretched for an unknown number of miles. The abyss of hell, known as the most dangerous place in the East Sea, was hidden in the depths of this oceanic trench that looked like a crack in hell. Tonight, I will post the picture of the Chaos Divine Beast. Add your friends on WeChat, YLTY83 mobile reading site, book address. For the convenience of your next reading, you can click on the Save button at the bottom to record this reading record. You will be able to see it the next time you open your bookshelf. Please recommend this book to your friends, QQ, blog, WeChat, etc. Thank you for your support. Chapter 1030. Everyone, restrain your aura and be careful. Don't let the demon beasts in the trench discover us. Otherwise, we will be in big trouble. The Marquis of Qianming exhorted and took out his ancient Dao treasure. There was an ancient seal with a demonic snake coiling around it. It floated above his head and was the first to rush into the trench with a powerful restrictive aura. Another expert from Nirvana, Old Zay, summoned a chessboard covered with Xingluo and black and white chess pieces. He sat at the back of the group and sealed off their escape route, not giving them a chance to escape from the trench. As they carefully swam towards the bottom of the trench, Yi Chunfeng closed his eyes and quickly used his God-Eater brain to sense every movement around him. Suddenly, a strange spatial crack appeared and released a destructive force like a tidal wave, bombarding one of the experts from East Sea Palace. Although this Eastern Sea Palace expert had sensed danger and instinctively dodged, the spatial fissure had appeared too suddenly. He was still struck by the destructive power, and his right arm and shoulder, which he had put all his effort into defending, were blasted to pieces. Large amounts of blood spurted out and dyed the sea red. Not good. Quickly seal his wound and don't let the blood continue to flow. Otherwise, it will attract the demon beasts in the trench, and we will be in trouble. Marquis Qianming, who was swimming at the front, ordered loudly. Water Dao intent seal. As soon as Marquis Qianming's voice fell, a young man wearing a dark golden martial arts suit with an angular face and sharp and deep eyes that gave people a sense of oppression reacted quickly. He immediately controlled the water Dao intent and froze the broken arm of this East Sea Palace disciple, as well as the blood that had melted into the seawater, preventing the smell of blood from spreading. Hai Jiangshan, Hai Sanjian's brother. Looking at the man who looked somewhat similar to Hai Sanjian, Yi Chunfeng recognized him. He was the East Sea Palace's #1 genius, Hai Jiangshan, who had just broken through to level 4 Beast Emperor not long ago. Very good, let's continue diving. Everyone, be careful of the spatial cracks that may appear at any time. If someone is accidentally injured by the spatial cracks, the people beside him must immediately stop the bleeding. Don't let the blood flow out and attract the demon beast. Marquis Qianming was very satisfied with Hai Jiangshan's reaction. He nodded and led everyone to continue swimming to the bottom of the trench. Mo Fengyun, there is a spatial crack in front of you. Quickly change your direction. With the help of the God-Eater brain, Yi Chunfeng sensed the hidden space cracks in the trench in advance and constantly reminded Mo Fengyun. On the other hand, the experts of the 3 Holy Lands did not have such an abnormal perception like Yi Chunfeng. They were repeatedly attacked by the spatial cracks and suffered heavy casualties. Even the experts of the Kirin Kingdom had suffered casualties, which made the people of the 3 Holy Lands suspicious. Mo Fengyun, let me ask you, why are you always able to avoid the spatial cracks? What tricks do you have? Hai Jiangshan asked with a ferocious glint in his eyes. We're just lucky. We don't have any special tricks. Mo Fengyun shook his head and said politely. The real Hai Jiangshan said suspiciously, why do I feel that you are not telling the truth? If eldest young Master Hai doesn't believe me, then I can't do anything about it, but I really don't have the ability to predict in advance. Mo Fengyun said neither arrogantly nor humbly. No one could find any fault with his words. You better not lie to me. Otherwise, I will not forgive you. Although Hai Jiangshan was not as powerful as Mo Fengyun, as the future palace master of the East Sea Palace, he did not take Mo Fengyun seriously. Looking at Hai Jiangshan's back, Mo Fengyun's eyes revealed a trace of murderous intent that was difficult to detect. Everyone be careful. After passing through the area ahead, you will reach the entrance to the abyss of hell. But the area ahead is very dangerous. There are many hidden space cracks. If you are not careful, you may be swallowed by the space cracks and die. Marquis Qianming, who had been here several times, warned. Marquis, since the space ahead is so dangerous, why don't we find a few people to explore and find the hidden space cracks to reduce unnecessary casualties? Hai Jiangshan glanced at Mo Fengyun and the others from the corner of his eye and suggested maliciously. Well, this is a good idea. Marquis Qianming looked at him meaningfully and nodded. Seeing that Marquis Qianming agreed, the atmosphere suddenly became tense. Everyone was afraid that they would be chosen and lose their lives. Mo Fengyun, you 6 have not suffered any casualties along the way. It shows that you are very lucky today. How about we give you the task of exploring to you? Hai Jiangshan said deliberately. Of course. Contrary to Hai Jiangshan's expectations, Mo Fengyun agreed at Yi Chunfeng's suggestion. Haha, then I wish you all good luck. Hai Jiangshan's expression froze before he revealed a cold smile. Let's go. Mo Fengyun let 2 of the Western Demon Sect's men of sacrifice walk at the very front. They formed a line and entered the extremely fragile space that hid great danger. Just as they descended a few meters, a terrifying space crack appeared. It was like a ferocious mouth that swallowed the Western Demon Sect's men of sacrifice in one gulp. The terrifying destructive power crushed his body, killing him on the spot. Move to the northwest. Yi Chunfeng, who raised the deduction ability of the god-devouring brain to the extreme, instructed Mo Fengyun. The men of sacrifice that were crushed by the space crack were deliberately sacrificed by Yi Chunfeng. If they passed through this area unharmed, it would arouse suspicion and cause unnecessary trouble. Mo Fengyun, let's see how long you can pretend for. Hai Jiangshan felt that there was something wrong with Mo Fengyun. His eyes flickered with a sharp light as he thought to himself, "Let's go, let's follow." Marquis Qianming and the rest released powerful soul power and locked onto Mo Fengyun's group. They followed the same path and quickly moved to the bottom of the trench. Buzz, buzz. Yi Qinfeng's group was like a long snake as they slithered down. Terrifying space cracks kept appearing. In order to not arouse suspicion, Yi Qinfeng deliberately let Mo Fengyun sacrifice one of the Western demon sect's men of sacrifice. He let the man be swallowed by the space crack and die on the spot. Slowly and carefully, Yi Qinfeng's group arrived at the end of this fragile space. Through the pitch-black seawater, they saw the entrance to the abyss of hell that was emitting faint light. Although the entrance to the abyss of hell was close, Yi Qinfeng's group did not act rashly. Yi Qinfeng's powerful soul power sensed that there were intersecting space cracks in the space before them. It was extremely dangerous. "Why aren't you moving? What are you waiting for?" Hai Jiangshan appeared beside Mo Fengyun and asked maliciously. "It's a little dangerous ahead. I don't have full confidence to pass through safely," Mo Fengyun said with a cold expression. "That's simple." Hai Jiangshan sneered and said, "Let your disciples test it out personally. Then you'll find the safe way. I think he's good. Let him explore the way." Hai Jiangshan pointed at Yi Qinfeng beside him and ordered coldly, "Buzz, buzz." Just as Hai Jiangshan looked at Yi Qinfeng, a large amount of illusion Dao intent flashed in Yi Qinfeng's eyes. Using the pitch-black space and his body as cover, 90 illusion Dao patterns poured into his eyes, creating a large number of illusions in his mind and controlling his consciousness for a short time. "Young Master Hai, please let me go. I don't want to die for no reason." Controlling the 9-layered illusion Dao intent and controlling Hai Jiangshan's soul power, Yi Qinfeng pretended to be weak. "Trash." As he spoke, Hai Jiangshan, whose consciousness was controlled by Yi Qinfeng, suddenly sped up and turned into a beam of blue light. He flew forward towards the end of the hidden space cracks. Crack, crack. Like a stone, Hai Jiangshan stirred up a large number of waves. Dozens of intersecting space cracks appeared at the same time, releasing a powerful destructive force. Like a rolling tide, they bombarded his body. In an instant, Hai Jiangshan's body defense was broken. His entire body was torn apart by the space cracks, leaving nothing behind. Mobile reading site, book address. For the convenience of your next reading, you can click on the Save button at the bottom to record this reading record. You will see it the next time you open the bookshelf. Please recommend this book to your friends, QQ, blog, WeChat, etc. Thank you for your support. Chapter 1031. Jiang Shan Hemingway Map and Sakuraji felt as though they had been struck by lightning when they saw Jiang Shan being torn apart by the spatial cracks. Their minds went blank and they could not believe what had just happened. Immediately after, a towering rage erupted from their bodies like a volcano and suppressed Yi Qinfeng, Mo Fengyun, and the rest. "Mo Fengyun, how dare you kill my son? I'll kill you!" Hemingway Map lost his mind when his 2 favorite sons died one after another. He let out a sorrowful roar and took out the Tao Treasure Sea God statue. With a daunting divine might, he attacked Mo Fengyun and the rest. "Sea God statue, what does your son's death have to do with me?" Mo Fengyun quickly stood in front of Yi Qinfeng and the rest and took out the Tao Treasure Ghost Killing Array diagram to resist the destructive attack of the Sea God statue. "If it wasn't for you, my son wouldn't have died." Hemingway Map was like an enraged lion. He glared with his blood-red eyes and said in a cold voice. He was determined to kill Yi Qinfeng and Mo Fengyun and the rest to vent his anger. "I've already warned him that it's dangerous ahead." However, he didn't listen and insisted on taking the risk. He was torn apart by the spatial cracks and lost his life. His death has nothing to do with us. Marquis Senior Zhe, please uphold justice for us. Mo Fengyun said neither arrogantly nor humbly. "All right, Mingtu, your son's death has nothing to do with them. My condolences and don't cause any more trouble." Mo Fengyun and the rest were still useful. Before obtaining the opportunity in the abyss of hell, the Marquis of Qianming did not want to split up. Marquis, I said, don't cause any more trouble. Look at the big picture. If they can leave the abyss of hell alive, I will give you an explanation. The Marquis of Qianming interrupted Hemingway Map and warned him with a gloomy face. Yes. Although Hemingway Map was unwilling, he did not dare to disobey the Marquis of Qianming's order. He had to suppress the killing intent in his heart and took back the sea god statue. However, Mo Fengyun and the rest were his target. As long as he had the chance, he would kill them without hesitation. Walking this way, the space here is relatively stable. An old man wearing a long robe made of golden threads, with a long face and a goatee, and eyes flashing with light, suddenly accelerated and charged into the chaotic space filled with spatial cracks. This old man was Lu Yun, a famous formation master in the Kirin Kingdom. He had studied formations for hundreds of years and had a very high level of attainment in them. His soul was also more powerful than ordinary people. Master Lu Yun took the lead while the Marquis of Qianming, Old Zhe, and the others followed closely behind him, and they moved through numerous spatial rifts. Hemingway Map and his wife glared at Yi Chunfeng. Mo Fengyun followed behind the experts of the Kirin Kingdom. They meandered through the chaotic space, shuttling through this extremely dangerous space. Come on. Let's follow. Yi Chunfeng ignored the killing intent in the eyes of Hemingway Map and his wife. He transmitted his voice to them and followed at the back of the group. While sensing the hidden dangers in the space, he moved quickly. After about 30 breaths of time, under Great Master Lu Yun's lead, Yi Chunfeng's group safely passed through the space with a large number of spatial cracks hidden in it. They arrived at the entrance to the abyss of hell, which looked like the mouth of a great desolate beast and was filled with a thick aura of death. What a terrifying aura! Even a peerless king would be frightened to death by this aura. Feeling the aura of death coming from the entrance of the abyss of hell, Yi Chunfeng's breathing paused for a moment, and an inexplicable sense of unease appeared in his heart. Marquis of Qianming, Old Zhe, you are here. 2 tall and sturdy men with explosive muscles and boundless strength walked out from a dark corner. Level 9 Heavenly Beast. These two were transformed from Level 9 Heavenly Beast. Looking at these 2 tall and sturdy men, Yi Chunfeng immediately recognized that they were not from the human race. They were transformed from 2 Level 9 Heavenly Beasts, and they were extremely terrifying. Marquis Qianming asked in a deep voice, "How is it? How is the situation inside?" After dozens of men of sacrifice used their life force to detect, the aura of death in the abyss of hell was relatively weak at this moment. A normal battle beast emperor could withstand the aura of death inside. However, the situation in the abyss of hell was very complicated, and no one knew what would happen inside. One of the tall and sturdy men said, "Everything would have to wait until they were inside." Marquis Qianming nodded and said, "Master Lu Yun, thank you. Seal light deactivate." Master Lu Yun summoned 88 array flags and controlled them to rotate quickly, forming a seal-breaking array. He released the seal-breaking light into the seal at the entrance of the abyss of hell, forcefully weakening the seal and opening the entrance. "Alright, everyone follow me into the abyss of hell." After speaking, Marquis Qianming released a powerful half-demon power and merged it into the Gu Dao Treasure's demonic snake seal. He controlled the demonic snake seal to release a boundless Dao light that enveloped him. He was the first to fly towards the terrifying entrance of the abyss of hell, broke the seal, and disappeared. "What are you waiting for? Hurry up and enter the abyss of hell." Elder Zhe, who looked proud and arrogant, gave an order that was not to be disobeyed. As soon as Old Zhe finished his words, Yi Chunfeng, Mo Fengyun, and the others wrapped themselves in powerful Dao will and forcefully broke through the weakening restriction at the entrance. They followed closely behind the Marquis of Qianming and entered the abyss of hell, which contained great opportunities but was also accompanied by great danger. Gray Sun, Black Moon. After entering the abyss of hell, the first thing Yi Chunfeng saw was a dark gray sun that was hanging high in the sky. It was emitting a gray radiance, as well as a demonic black moon that was filled with mysteries. Other than the gray sun and black moon in the sky, the entire world of the abyss of hell was gray. It was filled with the aura of death that had almost turned into liquid. The aura of death seeped through everyone's pores and frantically entered their bodies, greatly suppressing their cultivation realm. Young Master Yi, my cultivation realm has been suppressed by 1.5 levels. In here, I can only unleash the strength of a Class 4 combat beast emperor. Under the influence of the aura of death in the abyss of hell, Mo Fengyun's cultivation realm was suppressed. He quickly transmitted a message to Yi Chunfeng. I'm still fine. The aura of death has almost no effect on me. Although Yi Chunfeng's body was filled with a large amount of aura of death, he had the primal chaos divine wood and the undead spirit pearl. He was able to completely restrain the aura of death and eliminate its influence on him. Everyone, get used to the spatial energy here. 2 hours later, we will enter the abyss of hell. The Marquis of Qianming, Old Zhe, and the others were also suppressed. They all sat cross-legged on the ground, and got used to the aura of death in the abyss of hell. They were thinking of ways to weaken the aura of death on their strength. Shush! Suddenly, a faint sound of friction in the air rang out in the dark space. It slowly approached the group that was sitting cross-legged at the entrance of the abyss of hell. There's danger! The strongest Marquis of Qianming and Old Zhe were the first to sense the danger. They opened their eyes and saw several ghost-like dead souls floating over in the gray fog. They immediately controlled the 2 Gu Dao treasures floating above their heads to attack, directly killing 5 drifting dead souls. However, the dead souls in the abyss of hell were too strange. There was still one dead soul that managed to dodge the attack of the 2 Gu Dao treasures. Like a wisp of green smoke, it entered the body of a Yu family disciple who couldn't dodge in time. A mournful scream rang out. The body of the Yu family disciple that was invaded by the dead soul immediately rotted and turned into a large amount of pus and blood. The rotting parts revealed the white bones. The immense pain made him hover between life and death. He constantly begged for help. Save me, family head, save me, I don't want to die. The Yu family disciple stretched out his rotting right hand and crawled towards Yuchan. After crawling for 2 meters, all the flesh on his body rotted, and he turned into a skeleton. He couldn't be more dead. After devouring the life force of a Yu family disciple, the dead soul turned into a black light and attacked the next target. At this moment, a roar that sounded like a dragon's roar and a tiger's roar came from Old Zhe's mouth. It fiercely bombarded the body of the dead soul and directly killed him. Mobile reading website, book address. To make it easier for you to read it next time, you can click on the bookmark button at the bottom to record this reading. You will be able to see it the next time you open the bookshelf. Please recommend this book to your friends, QQ, blog, WeChat, etc. Thank you for your support. Chapter 1032. This abyss of hell is indeed dangerous. Everyone, be careful. Don't let the dead souls enter your body. The Marquis of Qianming said with a gloomy expression. One of them died right after entering the abyss of hell. Everyone's morale was affected. In order to prevent accidents from happening again, Master Lu Yun summoned 256 array flags while everyone was getting used to the abyss of hell's law power. They formed a large array that enveloped everyone, preventing the sneak attacks of the mysterious dead souls that would cause casualties. Very quickly, 2 hours passed. After more than 2 hours of adaptation, everyone's strength was still suppressed. Among them, the Marquis of Qianming and Old Zhe's strength both fell to the peak of Class 6 Beast Emperor. Hemingway Map, Yu Gu, and the others were also suppressed by 1 level and were unable to display their peak strength. You open the path in front. The abyss of hell was too dangerous. The Marquis of Qianming didn't force himself. He pointed at the two experts who were heavily injured by the spatial cracks and whose battle strength was greatly reduced, and gave an irresistible order. Although they knew what it meant to open the path, they didn't dare to disobey the Marquis of Qianming's order. They could only obediently walk in front of everyone, attracting the danger that could appear at any time as they walked towards the depths of the abyss of hell. Flower, a flower. As they walked, a half-meter-tall flower with a flower the size of a washbasin appeared in front of everyone. It was blood-red and emitted a fragrant fragrance, attracting everyone's attention. No, this flower is strange. Although the flower in front of them was very beautiful, when everyone saw this flower, they still felt a trace of a strange feeling. Just as everyone stopped walking, the two people who were walking at the very front and closest to this strange flower were attracted by the refreshing fragrance of the flower. It was as if they had lost their souls, and their eyes were empty as they walked towards this strange flower. "Don't come near, come back." Old Zay opened his mouth and a bell-like Sanskrit sound was released from his mouth. It blasted into the two people's soul seas and forcefully woke them up. But at this moment this strange flower suddenly extended its stem. A circle of sharp blade-like teeth appeared on the flower that was the size of a washbasin. It bit one of the people's head and directly bit it off, chewing it up and swallowing it. Seeing the tragic death of his companion, the other expert was scared out of his wits. He didn't even think about turning around and running away. But this strange flower was even faster. The flower, which was full of fangs, bit his head like lightning and swallowed it before Hymingtu could save him. Poseidon, die. Seeing the East Sea Palace disciple's head being bitten off by the strange flower in front of him, Hemingway Map let out a furious roar. He controlled the Tao Treasure Sea Deity statue to grow bigger, as if it had a life of its own. With the Sea Deity trident in his hand, he ruthlessly stabbed at the strange flower. After being attacked by the statue, the strange flower trembled violently. A large number of cracks appeared on the blood-red flower, but it did not shatter. This greatly surprised everyone. The evil creatures in the abyss of hell were indeed terrifying. Even after taking a hit from a Tao treasure, it did not shatter. The defense of this flower was simply too terrifying. Yi Qianfeng's brows twitched slightly. He felt that the dangers of the abyss of hell far exceeded his imagination. He could not believe that such a dangerous place would be related to his origins. Boom, boom, boom. Under the all-out attack of the Poseidon under Hemingway Map's control, the strange flower shattered, revealing a round, blood-red bead that looked like a dragon's eye suspended in mid-air. Collect. Looking at the blood bead in front of him, the Marquis of Qianming stretched out his hand. A large amount of Tao will turned into a huge hand that covered the sky. He snatched the blood bead away before Hemingway Map could. What pure energy! The energy contained in this blood bead was no less than that of an ordinary great Tao elixir. The Marquis of Qianming sensed the energy contained in the blood bead. His eyes lit up as he stored it in his Qiankuan ring. Come, you two take the lead. The Marquis of Qianming pointed at Mo Fengyun's two trusted subordinates and ordered loudly. Yes. The men of sacrifice of the West Demon sect, whose sole consciousness had long been controlled by Mo Fengyun, obeyed. They held two extremely sharp spears in their hands and walked at the front, continuing to go deeper. Grassland. Why was there a green grassland in front of them? Walking on the pitted black ground, everyone discovered many severely weathered skeletons, broken stone tablets, and broken weapons. As they walked, a green grassland appeared before everyone's eyes. Many wild flowers bloomed in the air, full of vitality. However, just as the two men of sacrifice of the West Demon sect walked into this green grassland, everyone suddenly stopped in their tracks, revealing shocked expressions. Legs. Their legs were rotting. Seeing the legs of the two men of sacrifice of the West Demon sect turning into pus and blood, revealing their bloody bones and white soles, many people felt their scalps go numb, and they were terrified. Ah! The two men of sacrifice of the West Demon sect let out terrified cries. They completely lost control of their bodies and fell onto the green grassland. However, the instant their bodies came into contact with the grassland, their bodies also started to rot, turning into pus and blood, revealing their white bones. A thick smell of blood spread out from their bodies, making people feel nauseous. No, this grassland is hiding a large number of dead souls. Let's speed up and fly over. Old Zay, with his deep eyes, saw through the grassland's real situation. He poured a large amount of soul power into the Gu Dao treasure chessboard, controlling it to fly out and open a path for him. Everyone followed him. The Marquis of Qianming and the rest flew into the air, closely following Old Zay as they flew over this strange grassland. After flying for a short while, a large number of dead souls drilled out from the grassland, letting out bone-chilling cries as they attacked Yi Chunfeng and the rest. They wanted to devour their flesh and blood, as well as their lives. Don't slow down. Let's speed up and rush out. Old Zay, who was at the front, roared as he controlled the chess pieces to fly out, piercing through the dead souls that were blocking his way, crushing them into pieces. The two level 9 heavenly beasts also transformed into their original forms, transforming into a ferocious lion and a pitch-black bull, crazily killing each other. Although the disciples who were qualified to enter the abyss of hell were the elites of the three holy lands, the dead souls in the abyss of hell were too terrifying, and their attacks were impossible to guard against. While they were trying their best to break through, many people's defenses were still broken through by the dead souls. The dead souls drilled into their bodies, and their flesh began to rot, turning into a pool of blood. Piles of white bones scattered all over the ground. Seeing people dying continuously, and the process of dying was so painful, the experts of the three holy lands felt a chill down their spines. Large amounts of cold sweat appeared on their foreheads, and their auras were affected. Sky Demon demonic ropes seal the space. Mo Fengyun roared as he controlled his powerful soul power to condense 5 Sky Demon demonic rope. They were like flood dragons, circling around Yi Chunfeng and the rest, killing the dead souls and protecting them. Flame formation, burn. When everyone tried to force their way out, Master Lu Yun shot out 99 top-grade formation flags from his body, forming a powerful flame formation above his head. A large amount of flames were released from the formation, burning the dead souls that drilled out of the grassland. Whether it was lightning or flames, they were the nemesis of souls. Under the attack of the flame formation, the pressure on everyone was greatly reduced, and they attacked fiercely. After more than 2 hours of breaking through, they killed their way out of the extremely dangerous grassland and continued to fly in the abyss of hell. As they flew, an illusory song entered their ears, causing their souls to be deeply immersed in the song, unable to extricate themselves. Mobile reading website, book address. In order to facilitate your next reading, you can click on the Save button below to record this reading record. Next time you open the bookshelf, you will see it. Please recommend this book to your friends, QQ, blog, WeChat, etc. Thank you for your support. Chapter 1033. Guard your mind and don't let your soul fall into the song. Listening to the endless sorrowful song that seemed to come from the distant horizon, the strongest Marquis Qianming and Elder Zay were the first to regain consciousness. The two of them let out a shocking howl that pierced through the sky. The terrifying sound waves caused the void to tremble violently, forcibly interrupting the sorrowful song that was circling their souls and stirring up the sorrow in their hearts. What a terrifying song! Even my soul was lost in that instant, Yi Chunfeng said with lingering fear. Through the slowly drifting fog of death, Yi Chunfeng saw a woman with black hair that was like a waterfall, a perfect figure, and a large patch of snow-white skin sitting beside a slowly flowing stream. She held a fishbone comb in her hand and combed her long black hair while singing softly. "Don't go, come and accompany me, I'm so lonely, I need someone to accompany me." Mournful singing stopped abruptly. The long-haired woman, who had her back facing them, let out a demonic voice that made people shudder. It pierced through the sound waves in the air, and pierced into the soul sea of a 9-phantom mountain disciple whose soul was relatively weaker. In the next moment, the 9-phantom mountain disciple's eyes became empty. As if he was possessed, he suddenly flew towards the woman. His speed was so fast that it exceeded everyone's reaction. Yu Yun, come back! Yu Yuen, the sect master of the 9-phantom mountain, who was a Class 5 combat beast emperor, roared. A large amount of Tao intent erupted from his body, condensing into a large hand of Tao intent. He grabbed at Yu Yun, who had lost his consciousness and had lost himself. He wanted to grab him back. Suddenly, the fishbone comb in the woman's hand shot out, turning into a ray of death. The powerful force directly broke through Yu Yuan's hand of Tao intent. In the next moment, a hair-raising scene appeared. The woman slowly turned around, revealing a ferocious face. Half of her face had turned into a skeleton. Her long fingernails pierced into Yu Yun's skull and forcibly pulled it off, revealing a bright red brain that kept squirming. A large amount of blood splattered into the air. A painful shriek shattered the silence. The woman used her fingernails to dig out Yu Yun's brain and swallowed it with great enjoyment. Then, she bit Yu Yun's trembling neck and drank all the blood in his body. It's so delicious. I haven't eaten such delicacies in tens of thousands of years. The woman stuck out her scarlet tongue and licked the remaining bloodstains at the corner of her mouth. I want your life. Yu Yun was Yu Yuan's illegitimate son. He was quite talented in cultivation and had broken through to the rank 1 combat beast emperor realm at a young age. Yu Yuan's heart shattered after witnessing his death. He roared furiously and summoned his Tao treasure, the dark serpent bell. With an ear-piercing sound, he attacked the woman. Dong, the fishbone comb that had just torn apart the will of Tao hand shot over at an extremely fast speed. It fiercely collided with the bell of Ghost Serpent and resisted the bell of Ghost Serpent. A series of deafening bell chimes resounded in the void. Give up your brain and be set free. A stifling aura emanated from the woman's body. This aura was so strong that it made the young disciples of the 3 holy lands feel suffocated. Suddenly, the woman sitting by the stream mysteriously disappeared. Be careful! Old Zay's pupils shrank, and he immediately shouted a warning. The powerful sound wave was like a rushing river, bombarding the space in front of Yu Yuan and forcibly blasting the woman out of the track of speed. 3 fingers of the netherworld, cloud-piercing, blood-weeping, extreme break. Yu Yuan, who felt a chill down his spine, quickly pointed 3 fingers. Each finger ray, stronger than the previous one, fiercely pierced the woman's body, trying to pierce through her. Whoosh! With an ear-piercing sound, the woman once again entered the track of speed and dodged Yu Yuan's 3 fingers of the netherworld. She then appeared in front of a Yu family disciple who had turned pale with fright. The Yu family disciple instinctively dodged in the face of danger. Suddenly, a large number of illusions appeared in front of his eyes. An extremely beautiful woman wearing a white veil appeared in front of him. Her exquisite body was faintly discernible, and her appearance was extremely seductive. She was so seductive that his soul was momentarily lost. Heavenly Demon Dance. The Yu family disciple was in danger. Yu Gu and Yu Rao quickly attacked. 2 demonic shadows appeared around his body, releasing a sky-high demonic aura. They attacked the strange woman, trying to force her to retreat. However, the strange woman's strength was beyond imagination. Her hands turned into 2 beast heads, smashing the 2 demonic shadows into pieces. She suddenly opened her mouth, revealing long fangs, and bit towards the head of the Yu family disciple who had lost his mind. Heavenly Demon Dance 8 directions. At the critical moment, Mo Fengyun merged with the power of his demon heart. His entire arm merged with the heavenly demon Tao soldier, turning into 8 heavenly demon Tao blade shadows. They whistled as they slashed towards the strange woman, forcing her to retreat. Ao! The strange woman was forced back by Mo Fengyun. The 2 level 9 heavenly beasts from the Kirin kingdom roared and exploded with shocking demonic energy. They stirred up the death energy and spun rapidly, slamming into the strange woman's body. She was sent flying, and her entire chest caved in. Despicable humans, go to hell! With her body injured, the strange-looking woman let out a shrill howl, her long black hair dancing wildly in the wind. Waves of demonic energy surged out of her body, and she engaged in a fierce battle with the two approaching heavenly beasts. The two level 9 heavenly beasts were terrifying, but the strange woman was stronger. She resisted the fierce attacks of the two level 9 heavenly beasts by herself, and she was not at a disadvantage. Break! The golden lion roared, and a mighty lion's shadow emerged from his strong body. It rushed towards the strange woman, trying to smash her body into pieces. At this time, Barbarian Bull launched a fatal attack, trying to kill the strange woman together. Suddenly, the strange woman's body blurred and merged into the rapidly flowing death mist. She dodged the golden lion's and Barbarian Bull's fierce attacks, and wanted to escape. Can you escape? Marquis Qianming's reaction was faster. His body flashed, and he blocked in front of the strange woman. A ball of scorching flame spewed out of his body, swallowing the strange woman directly. No, the heavenly fire. Swallowed by the scorching flame, the woman let out a painful howl. She kept venting her powerful demonic energy, trying to tear apart the heavenly fire and escape. However, the heavenly fire that Marquis Qianming had subdued was of high quality. It kept burning her body, not giving her a chance to break free. In an instant, the flesh on her body melted, leaving only white bones. True Qilin Seal Marquis Qianming pressed his hand down, and a large amount of Tao intent flew out of his fingertips, turning into a Qilin handprint. It fiercely bombarded the white bones that were struggling violently, crushing a large amount of white bones and crushing her soul consciousness. When the violent aura gradually dissipated, an egg-sized, crimson-red bone covered with reproduction patterns floated in the air. It reflected a demonic light, and it was extremely strange. Mobile reading site, book address. For the convenience of your next reading, you can click on the Collect button below to record this reading record. You will see it the next time you open the bookshelf. Please recommend this book to your friends, QQ, blog, WeChat, etc. Thank you for your support. Chapter 1034. Could this be the demon Thearka's bone? The rumors were true. Looking at the floating bone covered with ancient patterns, Marquis Qianming and Old Zay's eyes lit up. They were extremely excited. Retrieve. Marquis Qianming stretched out his hand and condensed a Tao will hand. He grabbed the demon Thearka's bone and kept it in his palm. The power of the demon Tharch. This bone contained the power of the demon Tharch. Holding the crimson bone covered with patterns and feeling the energy it contained, Marquis Qianming confirmed the rumors and became even more excited. Marquis, what is the demon Thearka's bone? Where is this abyss of hell? Hemingway Map looked at the excited Marquis Qianming and asked, "Don't ask what you shouldn't ask. Let's go and continue forward." Marquis Qianming returned to normal and took out a white jade box from his yin and yang ring. He sealed the demon Thearka's bone in the box and kept it before continuing to fly into the abyss of hell. Demon Thearka's bone Yi Chunfeng, who was in the crowd, frowned slightly. He was basically sure that the people of the Kirin Kingdom knew the secret of the abyss of hell. This secret was most likely related to the demon Thearka's inheritance. Could it be that the demon Thearka's bloodline also flows in my body? Yi Chunfeng had a ridiculous thought. However, he quickly rejected it. The death fog in the abyss of hell was extremely dense, making it difficult for the group to determine their direction. They could only rely on the gray sun and the black moon in the sky to vaguely determine their direction. After flying for a short while, the group was attacked by the strange creatures formed by the blood bead. After spending a lot of effort, they destroyed them and obtained a blood bead. Time passed day by day. The group of people groped their way forward in the abyss of hell, which was full of danger. As they went deeper, the number of dead souls in the abyss of hell increased. It created a lot of trouble for the group and caused more casualties. the last death warrior of the West Devil sect and a disciple of the Nine Nether Mountain, died in the tide of dead souls. One of the Yu family members had his arm torn off by a dead soul. His body was severely injured, and his combat power was greatly reduced. However, in the intense battle, they obtained 8 blood beads that were comparable to great Tao elixirs. However, they didn't encounter any more monsters formed by the demon Thearka's bone. This made Marquis Qianming and the rest feel regretful. It's dark. Tonight, we will rest under the hill in front and continue to explore the abyss of hell tomorrow morning. As the gray sun in the sky of darkness of hell. There was no vegetation, and it was bare. They rested and recuperated their soul power. They recovered? As the space grew darker and darker, everyone who was recovering suddenly felt the ground beneath them tremble. It was as if a terrifying power was brewing under the ground. Crack! The hill they were leaning against suddenly cracked. Streams of red energy surged out from the broken hill and the ground tens of miles behind it. Instantly, a large area of the ground caved in, and the dark night sky was dyed blood-red. Something's we quickly, sensing that the baleful aura in the air was getting thicker and thicker, and the blood-red energy spraying into the night sky was getting more and more numerous. The entire space was in chaos. Everyone's heart trembled as they smelled the thick scent of death. They quickly retreated. Boom! Just as everyone flew away, a large amount of crimson energy gushed out, instantly engulfing the hill that was hundreds of meters tall, destroying everything in the space. Within the scarlet energy, a scarlet storm that tore through space swept out. Like a tsunami, it chased after Yi Chenfeng's group. Damn it! Feeling that the red storm was like an ancient beast, if they were to be swallowed by it, there would be no hope of survival. Everyone's expression changed greatly, and they increased their flying speed to the peak, leaving behind afterimages under the night sky as they fled for their lives with all their might. Yi Chenfeng and the others were escaping at an extremely fast speed, but the scarlet storm behind them was moving even faster. The energy contained in the storm was constantly attacking their souls, causing them to fall into a state of fear. After a stick of incense's time, the Yu family's expert, whose arm had been torn off by the dead soul, was swallowed by the scarlet storm. In the blink of an eye, not even his bones remained. Not long after, another person was swallowed by the crimson storm. Everyone, split up and escape. Find shelter in the mountain range ahead. Once we are safe, we will use the communication pearl to contact each other. When everyone escaped into a towering black mountain range, Marquis Qianming made a prompt decision and shouted loudly. Just as Marquis Qianming's voice fell, everyone immediately split up in the mountain range and used all their strength to cross this mountain range that was close to 10,000 meters tall to find shelter. Boom! As everyone flew over the mountain range, the scarlet storm ruthlessly bombarded the black mountain range. The terrifying impact caused the dragon-like mountain range to tremble violently. Large patches of vegetation and mountain rocks were turned into dust, and cracks appeared on the mountain. This abyss of hell was indeed dangerous. With such terrifying power, even sacred beasts would have no chance of survival if they were engulfed in it. Yi Chenfeng, who was moving at an extremely fast speed, moved around in this mountain range that stretched for an unknown number of miles, crossing many steep mountain ranges. Finally, he found an underground crack that stretched for an unknown number of miles in this black mountain range, and he entered it in a flash. The next moment, with a thought, he entered the Qiankuan realm and waited for this destructive storm to pass. Time passed by slowly, and the scarlet storm raged for more than an hour before it gradually dissipated. After being baptized by the destructive storm, the entire space was in a mess. The air was filled with the power of death, and it was constantly corroding everyone's body, further suppressing their strength. Feeling that the outside world was relatively safe, Yi Chenfeng left the Qiankuan realm and appeared outside. He was ready to contact Mo Fengyun and meet up with him. Who is it? Yi Chunfeng had just taken out his communication pearl when he suddenly felt a powerful aura locking onto him. He frowned slightly and looked at the far end of the crack. He saw an old man in a dark blue robe, with a long white beard and a light pearl floating above his head flying towards him. Hai Pingyang, the great elder of the East Sea Palace. Looking at the blue-robed old man flying towards him with an ominous glint in his eyes, Yi Chunfeng immediately recognized him. He was the East Sea Palace's great elder, Hai Pingyang, whose status was second only to the old Palace Master Hai Dongtian, Palace Master Hemingway Map, and the East Sea Palace's great elder. He was a level 5 combat beast emperor. However, Hai Dongtian had always been in seclusion in the East Sea Palace, so Hai Pingyang was the second in command of this operation in the East Sea Palace. His status was even higher than Sakuragi. Brat, I have to say, your luck is really bad to have met me here. Tell me, how should I torture you to avenge my country? Hai Pingyang revealed a cruel smile and said coldly. Actually, I should be the one saying that. The corner of Yi Chunfeng's mouth rose slightly. An aura that was beyond Hai Pingyang's imagination burst out from his body, shattering Hai Pingyang's aura lock and shaking his body. You, who exactly are you? Hai Pingyang did not expect Yi Chunfeng to have hidden his strength, and his strength was so strong. His expression changed slightly, and his heart was filled with great waves. He asked as if he was facing a great enemy. Who I am is not important. What's important is that this day next year will be your death anniversary. Yi Chunfeng said with murderous intent. Will of the Wei surged within his body. He was prepared to use the death chi in the air to cover up and quickly kill Hai Pingyang, weakening the East Sea Palace's overall strength. Mobile reading website. Book address. For your convenience, you can click on the Save button below to record your reading history. You will be able to see it the next time you open the bookshelf. Please recommend this book to your friends, QQ, blog, WeChat, etc. Thank you for your support. Chapter 1035. Violent sea raging sky. Feeling that something was amiss, that Yi Chunfeng had hidden his strength and was plotting something, Hai Pingyang didn't hesitate to burn his bloodline power and transformed into his strongest beast soul form. He executed the East Sea Palace's powerful inherited Dao skill and attacked Yi Chunfeng. Watermark advertisement test. Watermark advertisement test. Countless Dao intents gushed out from his body and quickly condensed above his head, forming a boundless sea. The rolling waves churned in the sea, as though a water god was charging down furiously. Boom, 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 the terrifying violent sea waves ruthlessly bombarded Yi Chunfeng, who was standing on the spot and didn't dodge, instantly engulfing him. However, in the next moment, a huge crack appeared in this ferocious sea of might. Yi Chunfeng stepped on the sea of fury and broke through Hai Pingyang's attack. Then, using the sword steps, he soared into the sky. Triple ultimate water restriction, illusory shark water shadow, illusory flood dragon water shadow. After witnessing the scene of Yi Chunfeng shattering the violent sea raging sky, Hai Pingyang's heart trembled. He quickly deduced the Dao intent to the extreme. He conjured a ferocious sea shark with one hand and a ferocious flood dragon with the other. They coiled around the void and bombarded Yi Chunfeng, who was approaching rapidly. Sword steps. Yi Chunfeng ignored Hai Pingyang's triple ultimate water restriction. He took a step forward, and a multitude of sword patterns appeared under his feet. A large number of sword Dao patterns flew out and formed a sword rain, tearing apart the illusory shark water shadow and illusory flood dragon water shadow. Following that, a 5 elements giant hand shot out from Yi Chunfeng's body and bombarded Hai Pingyang with the force of Mount Tai. When the palm struck down, the space within a 1-mile radius was distorted. The space trembled and greatly reduced Hai Pingyang's dodging speed. The palm ruthlessly imprinted on his body and broke through his soul-powered defense. He was bombarded to the ground from midair, and a large amount of blood spurted out from his mouth. You, who exactly are you? Hai Pingyang didn't expect Yi Chunfeng to be so powerful. He quickly consumed a precious Dao elixir to suppress the injuries on his body and asked with a trembling voice, "Who do you think I am?" Yi Chunfeng smiled faintly. He used his sword steps and flew back towards Hai Pingyang. He continued to attack him, wanting to kill him quickly. Dao Treasure Ocean Pearl Destroy. Hai Pingyang quickly spat out a few mouthfuls of blood into the light bead floating above his head. He activated the attack power of the light bead, dragging a long trail of light behind him. Like an extremely fast meteor, he blasted towards Yi Chunfeng. Death Spirit Bead. Break. Yi Chunfeng did not summon any Taoist treasure. Instead, he stimulated the power of the 5 acupoints in his body. With the help of the Dead Spirit Bead in his Shenmen acupoint, his attack was amplified and he threw a punch. Kacha the Dao Treasure Ocean Pearl was sent flying by Yi Chunfeng's fist with a force of 80 million jin and the dense power of death. Cracks spread on the surface of the ocean pearl. What? Shattering a Dao treasure with a single punch? Witnessing the scene in front of him, Hai Pingyang was so shocked that his eyeballs almost fell out. He couldn't believe that Yi Chunfeng's attack was so terrifying that it could even shatter a Dao treasure. Hai Pingyang, if you have any other means, use them now. Otherwise, I'm afraid you won't have a chance, Yi Chunfeng said in an unruly manner. He threw a punch across the air. The punch was filled with the power of death. It carried an astonishing oppressive feeling and fiercely bombarded down, forcing Hai Pingyang to dodge quickly. But the moment he dodged, Yi Chunfeng drew an afterimage in the air and appeared beside him at an astonishing speed. He once again threw a punch and bombarded his chest. This punch sent him flying. His entire chest caved in and his flesh began to wither. Death, the power of death. Feeling that Yi Chunfeng's punch had cut off part of his vitality, Hai Pingyang was really frightened. He used the blood escape art at all costs, wanting to forcibly break out and escape. Chi. The sound of cloth being torn was heard. A shocking sword light split out from Yi Chunfeng's body, splitting the violently tumbling death chi. The sword broke through the defense of Hai Pingyang's body and cut him in half, killing him on the spot. Withdraw. After killing Hai Pingyang, Yi Chunfeng immediately took away his belongings. He spat out a ball of death flame heavenly fire, melting his body and destroying all traces. But after destroying the body, Yi Chunfeng didn't leave immediately. Instead, he cast his gaze at a pile of rocks in the distance. He walked over slowly and said, "You Jili, stop hiding. Come out. You are indeed powerful. I didn't expect you to find me even after I completely hid my presence." Yu Jili, who was wearing a blood-red robe, did not hide anymore. He walked out from the pile of rocks and looked at him coldly as he spoke. "If I were you, I would have escaped just now." Yi Chunfeng looked at his old rival and said coldly, "What? You want to kill me?" Yu Jili said coldly, "I'm not afraid to tell you that my father and the others are nearby. As long as I crush this sensor soul crystal, my father will come quickly. Once my father arrives, you will be dead for sure." "Really? Why don't I believe you?" Yi Chunfeng's lips curled up slightly. A sharp sword Dao pattern shot out from his fingertip and flew towards Yu Jili's forehead at a speed that couldn't be seen by the naked eye. Crack! A cracking sound came from Yu Jili's body. The amulet he wore on his neck was broken. It formed a strong defensive yellow light that covered his body and blocked Yi Chunfeng's sword Dao pattern. Do you want to be hunted down by the 9 underworlds mountain?" Yu Jili didn't expect Yi Chunfeng to dare to kill him. He quickly crushed the sensor soul crystal and took out 2 defensive treasures in front of him to protect himself. Soon, the East Sea Palace, the Yu family, and the 9 underworlds mountain will no longer exist in the eastern mainland. But I'm afraid you won't live to see that day. Yi Chunfeng exuded a domineering aura as he spoke arrogantly. You are Yi Chunfeng." Hearing Yi Chunfeng's arrogant words, Yu Jili raised his eyebrows. He immediately guessed Yi Chunfeng's identity. From what he knew, only Yi Chunfeng dared to say and do this. "Yu Jiuli, I didn't expect you to be so smart. You actually guessed my identity." Yi Chunfeng smiled faintly and admitted his identity calmly. Blood escape after knowing that the person in front of him was Yi Chunfeng, Yu Jiuli's last hope was shattered. Without hesitation, he burned all the blood in his body and turned into a ray of blood light, trying to leave the crevice. As long as he could leave, he would have a chance to ask for help. Then, he would be saved. "Do you think you can still run away after knowing my identity?" Yi Chunfeng's eyes narrowed and locked onto Yu Jiuli, who had turned into a ray of blood light. Under the control of his mind, the sword soul flew out of his mind and turned into a shocking sword shadow. It tore the space apart and attacked Yu Jiuli at a speed several times faster than the speed of light. Chi. The sword soul pierced through the two defensive treasures and slashed Yu Jiuli's body in half. A large amount of blood splashed down like rain and dyed the ground red. They came so quickly. When Yi Chunfeng took away Yu Jiuli's belongings and destroyed his body and was about to leave, his powerful soul sensed the aura of Yu Yuan and the Golden Lion. He hesitated for a while and gave up the idea of killing them. He hid in the universe mirror. Mobile reading website, book address. To make it easier for you to read this book next time, you can click on the Save button at the bottom to record this book. You will see it the next time you open the bookshelf. Please recommend this book to your friends, QQ, blog, WeChat, etc. Thank you for your support. Chapter 1036. Jiuli's aura had disappeared. Could Jiuli have been killed? When Yu Yuan rushed to the crack, he found that Yu Jiuli's aura had disappeared. The air was filled with the power of death, and there was a faint smell of blood. His heart sank. Who is it? Who is so bold to kill my son? I'm going to kill him and his whole family. Yu Yuan was like an injured lone wolf. He stared at the sky with his blood-red eyes and howled. When the two heirs of the East Sea Palace, Hai Jiangshan and Hai San Jian, died one after another, Yu Yuan was secretly delighted. But now Yu Jiuli, whom he had high hopes for, was also dead. This heavy blow made him cry, and he fell into a frenzied rage. There was no one in the crack. Jin Shi, who had great strength and keen senses, quickly searched the crack. He did not find anyone suspicious, so he returned to Yu Yuan and whispered, "Impossible, the murderer could not have left here. He must be hiding in the dark." Yu Yuan did not give up. He released his powerful soul power and searched for the ferocious beast that killed Yu Jiuli. However, after searching through the entire area, he did not find anyone suspicious. Instead, he found quite a few ferocious dead souls hiding in the dark. This made him even more annoyed and furious. How could this be? Could it be that Yu Jiuli was not killed by a human, but by the dead souls here? Yu Yuan could not accept this fact and roared angrily. If Yu Jiuli was killed by the dead souls, then he would not even have the chance to take revenge. No, Jiuli was not killed by the dead souls. If the dead souls killed Jiuli, they would only suck his blood dry and leave his body. Jiuli's body was missing. Someone must have destroyed it. Thinking of this, Yu Yuan continued to search the entire crack, searching every corner. And the dead souls hiding in the dark were all killed by him in anger and dissipated between heaven and earth. Sect Master Yu, Master Ho just sent a message, asking us to meet up with them quickly. Just as the furious Yu Yuan searched the entire crevice 3 times and killed all the dead souls hidden in the crevice, Jin Shi appeared beside him and whispered to him, "Don't worry, brother Wu Yuan. Go." Yu Jiuli's face darkened as he hesitated. He had a feeling that Yu Jiuli's murderer was still in this crevice, but he had not found him yet. However, he had no choice but to listen to Marquis Qian Ming's order. After making a choice, he took out 10 sensor crystals and split 10 strands of soul strands into the 10 sensor crystals at all costs, spreading them all over the crevice. In this way, if the real culprit appeared, he could immediately know who the vicious beast was through these 10 sensor crystals. However, just as Yu Yuen and Jin Shi left the fissure and flew towards the rendezvous point, Yu Yuen suddenly felt his soul tremble. The 10 sensor crystals he had left in the fissure were struck by a terrifying soul attack and exploded. The soul he had left behind in the crystal was not spared either. It was directly crushed, injuring his own soul. "Where are you?" When the real culprit appeared, the furious Yu Yuen raised his speed to the peak and turned into a blurry afterimage in midair, returning to the fissure at an extremely fast speed. However, at this time, Yi Chunfeng, who was even faster, used the stun spell to shatter the 10 sensor crystals and left the fissure. He concealed his aura and hid in the mountains, watching Yu Yuen fly past him before slowly flying towards the rendezvous point. "Xian Shu, are you okay? Are you hurt?" Seeing Yi Chunfeng flying in the air, Mo Fengyun immediately went up to him and asked with concern. "Thank you for your concern, Master. I was lucky to find a long and narrow cave at the critical moment and hid in it to avoid the disaster," Yi Chunfeng said with lingering fear. "Fengyun, your disciple is not bad. If he can leave the abyss of hell alive, I am willing to accept him as my last disciple." Yu Gu slowly walked over and looked at Yi Chunfeng, who had an ordinary appearance but extraordinary talent and strength, and said, "The Yu family had suffered heavy losses, and their genius disciples had suffered heavy casualties. Therefore, the Yu family urgently needed new blood to have the hope of making a comeback." Mo Fengyun was startled and showed a trace of hesitation. "What, you can't bear to part with Yu Gu?" said with an ugly expression, revealing a trace of displeasure in his voice. It was Xian Shu's blessing that Senior took a fancy to him. Mo Fengyun sighed softly and said, "Xian Shu, what are you waiting for? Quickly thank Senior for his kindness." "Thank you, Senior Yu. Junior will definitely leave the abyss of hell alive," Yi Chunfeng said excitedly. "Good, good, this life-saving talisman is for you. At the critical moment, it can save your life." Yu Gu was very satisfied with Yi Chunfeng's expression and gave him a precious life-saving talisman that could withstand the full blow of a level 6 combat beast Emperor Master. "Jin Shi, weren't you with Yu Yuen? Why did you come back alone?" Marquis Qianming, who was sitting cross-legged and adjusting his state, looked at Jin Shi, who was flying over on a golden light, and frowned slightly. "Yu Jili was killed in a crack in the ground. Sect Master Yu is looking for the real murderer to avenge his son," Jin Shi said. "What? Yu Jili was killed?" Marquis Qianming and the others' faces darkened. "Are you sure that Yu Jili was killed by someone and not by Annihilation Storm or Dead Souls? Originally, I also thought that Yu Jili was killed by Dead Souls, but Sect Master Yu left 10 sensing stones in that crack and 10 strands of souls in them. However, not long after we left, the 10 sensing stones shattered and the 10 strands of souls were also destroyed. From this matter, it is very likely that Yu Jili was killed by someone," Jin Shi said in detail. "There are no outsiders in the abyss of hell except for us. Is there a traitor among us?" Thinking of this, Marquis Qianming, Old Zhe, and the others' eyes became fierce as they constantly scanned the crowd. "I will send a message to those who are not here to urge them. If they are still not here in half an hour, that person is very likely to be the real murderer who killed Yu Jili," Marquis Qianming said angrily with a fierce look in his eyes. He could not believe that there was a traitor among them. Half an hour passed quickly. Except for Yu Yuen, Yu Jili, and Hai Pingyang, everyone else had arrived at the gathering point. How come the Grand Elder was not here? Hemingway Map saw that Hai Pingyang had not arrived for a long time and felt the seriousness of the situation. If Marquis Qianming suspected that Hai Pingyang was a traitor, he might be implicated. However, Hemingway Map knew that Hai Pingyang could not be a traitor. There were only 2 possibilities for him to be late. Either he was trapped in a dangerous place or he was dead. "Hemingway Map, do you know where the Grand Elder of East Sea Palace went?" Marquis Qianming asked in a low voice with a gloomy face. I don't know either." Hemingway Map braced himself and said. Hemingway map, if I find out that Hai Pingyang is the traitor, I will not forgive you. Marquis Qianming warned coldly, let's go. Let's go to the crack and see if there are any clues left behind. With that, everyone left the gathering point and went to the crack where Yu Jili died. However, Yi Chunfeng was very cautious. He released the death flame to burn all the traces. Marquis Qianming and the others searched the crack carefully, but still found nothing. Hai Pingyang, who had disappeared mysteriously, became the first suspect. Yu Wuyuan, who was filled with murderous intent, was even more certain that Hai Pingyang was the real murderer. In his opinion, the death of the two heirs of East Sea Palace was a great motive to kill Yu Jili. He wanted to cut off his own bloodline and the future of East Sea Palace. He did not want 9 Underworld Mountain to shake the foundation of East Sea Palace in the near future. East Sea Palace, you are so cruel. Yu Wuyuan glared at Hemingway map and the others. He was so angry that he gritted his teeth. The two Holy Lands had broken off their relationship because of this. Alright, let's not waste any more time. Let's move on. Since he could not find any valuable information, Marquis Qianming lost his patience and gave up the search. In the end, everyone left the Black Mountain Range under Marquis Qianming's lead. They continued to fly into the depths of the abyss of hell in search of the hidden great opportunity. Mobile reading site, book address. To make it easier for you to read it next time, you can click Save at the bottom to record this reading record. You will see it the next time you open the bookshelf. Please recommend this book to your friends, QQ, blog, WeChat, etc. Thank you for your support. Chapter 1037. Time flew by quickly. Watermark advertisement test. Watermark advertisement test. Soon, a month had passed. In this month, Yi Chunfeng and the others had encountered several life and death crises. The 3 Saint Lands suffered heavy losses again. 3 of them lost their lives, and 2 of them were severely injured. They almost lost the ability to fight again. However, they obtained several blood pearls that were comparable to the Great Tao Elixir. However, they didn't encounter the demon formed by the demon Darchbone again. In the fierce battles, the 3 Saint Lands that suffered heavy losses didn't obtain a single blood pearl. They were all taken away by the Marquis of Qianming and Old Man Zhe. The 3 Saint Lands were angry, but they didn't dare to say anything. They regretted following the Kirin Kingdom to explore the abyss of hell and search for opportunities. There was a lake in front. As Yi Chunfeng and the others flew aimlessly, a serene lake that was shrouded in gray fog and surrounded by aquatic plants appeared in front of them. The aura of a demon god. There was a demon Darchbone in this lake. When they flew above the lake, the Marquis of Qianming and Old Man Qian could vaguely feel the same power as the demon Darchbone. They revealed a trace of excitement. The main purpose of entering the abyss of hell was to capture the demon Darchbone that was very important to them. If they could bring out a large number of demon Darchbones from the abyss of hell, the Kirin Kingdom's overall strength would increase significantly. It wouldn't be a dream to surpass the 9 Heavens God Nation. They had to obtain the demon Darchbone in this lake. The Marquis of Qianming, Old Man Zhe, and the other experts of the Kirin Kingdom secretly made up their minds. Everyone, pay attention. I will lure the demon out from the lake. You guys get ready to attack at any time. Try to injure the demon formed by the demon Darchbone in one strike. Old Man Zhe shouted. A large number of yin and yang chess pieces fell off the chessboard and surrounded his body to protect him. In the next moment, the terrifyingly powerful Old Man Zhe broke through the rippling lake surface and swam to the bottom of the lake at an extremely fast speed. He approached the location of the demon Darchbone. In just 5 breaths, a piercing roar sounded from the bottom of the lake. The entire lake surged. A large number of water pillars rose into the sky like dragons, splashing endless water. Very soon, Old Zhe flew out of the chaotic lake and into the void with blood flowing out of the corner of his mouth. Following him to the surface of the water was a huge black turtle, the size of a small hill, its eyes like lightning, its mouth wide open as it roared furiously. It was a level 9 heavenly beast. The demon emperor bone was in the black turtle's body. Sensing the strength of the black tortoise, the Marquis of Qianming revealed a solemn expression. If they were in the outside world, both the Marquis of Qianming and Old Zay would be able to easily kill this level 9 heavenly beast black tortoise. However, in the abyss of hell, they were restrained by the power of the abyss of hell, and their strength was greatly affected. In addition, this black tortoise's defense was extremely strong, and it could sink to the bottom of the lake at any time. It was very difficult to kill it. Marquis, I'll leave the mission of killing this black tortoise to you. I'll cut off its path of retreat and not let it casually escape into the lake to hide. Old Zay took a deep breath and transmitted his voice. Good, as long as it didn't escape to the bottom of the lake, they could still kill it with the combined strength of everyone. The Marquis of Qianming nodded and said, Despicable humans, why did you disturb my slumber? The black tortoise glared at the Marquis of Qianming and the others with its ferocious eyes and said furiously. If it didn't feel threatened by the 2 level 9 heavenly beasts, the Marquis of Qianming and Old Zay, with this black tortoise's ferocious nature, it would have already killed them. Attack! The Marquis of Qianming was determined to obtain the demon emperor bone. He didn't waste any words with the black tortoise and transmitted his voice. Plop! Old Zay sped up and dived into the turbulent lake again. A pure white, crystal-clear heavenly water appeared on his body. Under the stimulation of the continuous infusion of half-demon energy, it released endless cold air and froze the lake. Gotcha! Under Old Zay's control, the lake quickly froze. In the blink of an eye, 1/10 of the lake was frozen, and the temperature of the air rapidly dropped. Skyrending hand just as the black tortoise noticed the abnormality in the lake and wanted to dive into the bone-chilling lake to kill Old Zay, the Marquis of Qianming roared and the lightning Dao diagram appeared on his body. He quickly deduced the Dao intent and condensed a lightning hand with flowing Dao patterns. With the power to split the sky, it grabbed at the black tortoise's shell. A terrifying power grabbed it and lifted it up. Sea god statue, demon statue, serene snake bell, ghost-killing array diagram. The moment the black tortoise was grabbed by the sky-splitting hand, Hemingway map, Yu Gu, and the others all made their move. They controlled their respective clan treasures and attacked the black tortoise. They wanted to gather everyone's strength to kill it. Roar! Roar! Lowly humans, I will destroy you! After being bombarded, the black tortoise trembled and blood flowed out from the corner of its mouth. It let out an uncontrollable roar. Close to 100 million kilograms of strength exploded from its huge body and shattered the sky-splitting hand. It spat out billowing demonic energy and attacked the Marquis of Qianming and the others. Xian Shu, you are too weak. Quickly dodge to the side. As Mo Fengyun attacked with all his strength, he shouted at Yi Chunfeng, who was not far away. Master, be careful. Yi Chunfeng nodded and dodged to the side, observing the battle in silence. As long as Old Zay could completely seal off the black tortoise's path of retreat, the Marquis of Qianming and the others would be able to kill this ferocious and terrifying black tortoise. While the Marquis of Qianming and the others were attacking ferociously, Old Zay unleashed the power of the heavenly water that he subdued to the extreme. The extremely cold air completely froze the entire lake, making it impossible for the black tortoise to sink to the bottom of the lake to hide. Lowly humans, die! The black tortoise hid its bloody head, limbs, and tail in its indestructible tortoise shell. It spun at high speed like a top, causing the air to surge and space to become chaotic. It distorted the void and crashed towards the Marquis of Qianming and the others. Demon Snake Seal, resist! As the black tortoise crashed over, the Marquis of Qianming immediately opened his mouth. An ancient square seal with a coiling demon snake shot out from his mouth and collided with the black tortoise that was spinning like a top. Crack! The entire space couldn't withstand their fierce collision and immediately shattered. A large number of cracks appeared. Heavenly demon dance in all directions silent millstone when the black tortoise was hit by the cloud demon snake seal until its entire body was trembling, Mo Fengyun, Yu Gu, and the others all unleashed their ultimate killing move. They bombarded its tough tortoise shell and shook its body, smashing it into the ice lake. Yin and Yang chess piece break. The black tortoise lost control of its body and smashed over. Old Zay immediately took out a large number of black and white chess pieces that contained the power of Yin and Yang and shot them towards the black tortoise's abdomen, which was in the opposite corner of its defense. After a series of intensive collisions, the black tortoise's abdomen was penetrated by several Yin and Yang chess pieces. A large amount of blood spurted out like rain and dyed the ice lake red. True Kirin Seal, Purple Thunder 9 strikes. Seizing the opportunity when the black tortoise was injured, the experts of the Qilin Divine Nation unceasingly used their powerful inherited Dao skills to attack it. Although the powerful power was unable to break open the black tortoise's shell, it was able to cause its huge body to tremble violently. Layers and layers of vibration power were transmitted into its body, damaging its internal organs and worsening its injuries. Its injuries became more and more serious, but it also stirred up the black tortoise's vicious nature. It roared angrily, attacking ferociously. Before it died, it bit down on a Qilin Divine Nation expert, crushing more than half of its body. Boom! When this Kirin Kingdom expert was about to be bitten to death, he unwillingly detonated all of his half-demon power and launched a fatal attack on the black tortoise. The black tortoise's huge head was blasted into a bloody mess and fresh blood flowed out. After about 30 minutes, the black tortoise finally couldn't withstand everyone's attacks and was killed by the combined forces of the Marquis of Qianming and the others. Mobile reading site, book address. To make it easier for you to read it next time, you can click on the Save button at the bottom to record this reading record. You will be able to see it the next time you open the bookshelf. Please recommend this book to your friends, QQ, blog, WeChat, etc. Thank you for your support. Chapter 1038. The Demon Emperor Bone was at the heart. Watermark advertisement test. Watermark advertisement test. After killing the ferocious black tortoise, Marquis Qianming immediately released his powerful soul power into the black tortoise's huge body and locked onto the Demon Emperor Bone at the heart. Break. Two unusually sharp mid-grade Dao artifact purple-green dual swords flew out of his body. Under his control, they broke open the black tortoise's bloody abdomen and dug out the Demon Emperor Bone at the heart. Then, Old Zay made his move. He used the sky-splitting hand and forcibly kept the black tortoise shell that was full of attack marks into his universe ring. The black tortoise's demon core, heart, teeth, and bones are yours. After taking away the two most precious treasures from the black tortoise, Marquis Qianming gave the demon core and other items to Hemingway Map and the rest to prevent them from being dissatisfied and causing unnecessary trouble. When the three Holy Lands were dividing the valuable items from the black tortoise, Mo Fengyun and Yi Chunfeng did not fight for them. They stood aside in silence and waited. Let's go, we will continue to go deeper into the abyss of hell. After the three Holy Lands divided the black tortoise, everyone immediately left the frozen Ghost Lake and continued to fly deeper into the Ghost Lake to look for other scattered Demon Emperor bones. However, the abyss of hell was extremely vast and there were very few Demon Emperor bones. Everyone searched for half a month in the abyss of hell and killed a large number of dead souls, but they did not find a third Demon Emperor bone. The temperature in the air dropped. Just as everyone was patiently searching for the Demon Emperor bone, they suddenly felt the temperature in the air plummet. As they went deeper, a large amount of cold air floated in the air and froze the surface of their skin. A world of ice and snow appeared in front of them. Resisting the erosion of the cold air, everyone flew for a while and found that in the space where the fog of death was floating, there was a world of ice and snow that filled the sky. Large snowflakes drifted down from the sky like dancing goose feathers and dancing musical notes, holy and beautiful. Everyone be careful, This world of ice and snow should be dangerous. Flying into the extremely cold world of ice and snow, Marquis Qianming took out the Gu Dao treasure demon snake seal and suspended it above his head to prevent any possible danger. Roar, roar, roar. After flying for a while, several powerful snow beasts that lived in the world of ice and snow were alarmed. They opened their mouths full of fangs and let out shocking roars, pouncing on Marquis Qianming and the rest. Demon snake, Selene, chessboard, Poseidon. Several huge snow beasts attacked. Marquis Qianming and the others immediately controlled their Gu Dao treasures to attack. Borrowing the power of the treasures, they killed the snow beasts one by one, revealing the blood beads in their hearts. Marquis Qianming and the others did not continue to fight for the blood pearls. They gave the blood pearls they obtained from killing the snow beasts to the people from the 3 Holy Lands, giving them some benefits. Well, the temperature in the air has dropped again. Something strange is going on ahead. The temperature in the extreme ice-snow forest dropped again, causing Marquis Qianming and the others to become alert. They slowed down slightly and searched for the demon Thearka's bones that might be hidden in the snow. An icy pool, a strange rock, a sword. After passing through the layers of cold fog formed by countless layers of ice, the group discovered that in the center of the pure white snow, there was an ice pool emitting cold air. In the center of the ice pool there was a strange craggy rock. On the rock there was a long sword with its hilt exposed. When Marquis Qianming and the others appeared at the edge of the ice pond and released their powerful soul power to probe the long sword that was stuck in the strange rock, rays of dazzling light spread out from the strange rock. It was like a black hole that sucked in everyone's soul consciousness, making them feel lost and their souls leaving their bodies. There is something wrong with that rock. Everyone, guard your mind and don't let that rock suck away your soul. Marquis Qianming and Old Zhe were the first to wake up from their trance. They let out a Sanskrit roar that reverberated in everyone's ears, causing their eardrums to hurt and their souls to tremble. It forcefully pulled them back from their trance. What a terrifying rock! It actually has the mystical ability to suck in souls and prevent others from detecting the sword. Yi Qianfeng's soul also appeared to be lost for an instant. If the sword stone had such a mystical ability, it was enough to show that the sword was even more extraordinary. This caused him to have a strong interest in it. Marquis, why don't you let me try and see if I can subdue this sword? Old Zhe looked at the sword on the rock with a burning gaze and said slowly. Okay, be careful. Marquis Qianming nodded and said. Whoosh. Old Zhe flew up into the air and drew an afterimage in the air. He was like a swan as he flew above the ice pool. He approached the strange rock and wanted to pull out the sword. As Old Zhe approached, a large amount of illusory light was projected from the strange rock. It created a large number of illusions in front of Old Zhe and confused his soul consciousness. Nirvana realm experts were existences that had challenged the heaven domain gate. No matter if it was strength or soul, they were incomparably powerful. Rays of soul light were projected from Old Zhe's body. It was like 2 large hands that tore apart the layers of illusions and appeared on the strange rock. They grabbed the exposed sword hilt that was covered with ancient patterns and embedded with a huge gem. They wanted to pull the long sword out. Buzz, buzz. Suddenly, the long sword trembled. An ear-piercing sword cry resounded. A large amount of sword light was projected and attacked Old Zhe. It stabbed his hand and forced him to retreat. Heaven-rending hand as the incomparably sharp sword light attacked, Old Zhe immediately executed his inherited divine ability. A large amount of Tao intent turned into a large hand that had the power to split the sky. He wanted to grab the incoming sword light and tear it apart. However, the power of the sword light was too great. A dense friction sound was heard and Old Zhe's heaven-splitting hand was torn apart. Yin-yang chessboard break. Old Zhe's expression changed slightly. He used the yin-yang chessboard with great power and borrowed the power of the Gu Dao treasure to shatter the sword light. I don't believe that I can't pull you out. Borrowing the power of the Gu Dao treasure, Old Zhe continued to shatter the sword light and tried to pull out the sword. However, this sword seemed to have fused with the strange rock and was inseparable. Old Zay tried several times, but he couldn't pull it out at all. Since he couldn't pull the sword out with brute force, Old Zay immediately forced out a large amount of essence blood and tried to drip it on the sword. However, when his blood landed on the sword hilt that was inlaid with gemstones, it was strangely frozen and couldn't seep into the sword hilt. Just as Old Zay was thinking of a way, a soaring sword light flew out from the longsword. It was like a sword dragon that pierced the sky and ruthlessly slashed the yin-yang chessboard. It produced an endless sword power and forced Old Zay to retreat. The blood and qi in his body were surging violently. Old Zay, come back. This sword is strange and won't be easy to subdue. When Marquis Qianming saw a trace of blood on the corner of Old Zay's mouth, he frowned slightly and whispered, "If I'm not wrong, this sword should be one of the best among supreme-grade Dao artifacts." After experiencing the sword power, Old Zay flew back to Marquis Qianming's side and wiped the blood off the corner of his mouth. "Well, since it can injure you through the Gu Dao treasure, it shows that the sword power of this sword has reached the level of supreme-grade Dao artifact." Marquis Qianming nodded. He was determined to get this sword. If he could get it, his attack power would increase by dozens of times. Even if he encountered an ordinary old monster from Nirvana, he would be able to fight. "I'll try and see if I can subdue this sword." With that said, Marquis Qianming summoned the demon snake seal and flew into the air. He passed through the layers of illusion and grabbed the sword hilt that was inlaid with the mysterious rock. Mobile reading website, book address. In order to facilitate your next reading, you can click on the Save button at the bottom to record this reading record. You can see it the next time you open the bookshelf. Please recommend this book to your friends, QQ, blog, WeChat, etc. Thank you for your support. Chapter 1039. So cold. The moment Marquis Qianming grabbed the sword hilt, he felt an unimaginable coldness being released from the sword hilt. It froze his hand and made him feel like he couldn't hold the sword hilt anymore. In the next moment, a large amount of cold sword light flew out from the longsword. The terrifying sword might cause the sky to change color. Sword light, each stronger than the last, intersected and attacked Marquis Qianming. Marquis Qianming's strength was above Old Zay's. He reacted quickly. The Thunder Dao diagram appeared on his body and turned into shocking bolts of purple lightning, shattering the cold sword light that was attacking him. 3 heads and 6 arms, in order to subdue this longsword that was suspected to be a supreme-grade Dao artifact. The Marquis of Qianming burned his Qilin bloodline when he controlled the Thunder Dao diagram to shatter the streaks of sword gleams. Surging demonic powers and increasing strength erupted from his body, condensing into many heads and extremely strong arms. True Qilin seal Marquis Qianming's 6 arms formed seals at the same time and deduced the Dao to the extreme. They condensed into a lifelike and extraordinarily mighty Qilin divine beast. It stomped on the space and roared as it attacked the supreme-grade Dao sword. Buzz, buzz, buzz. After being attacked by the true Qilin seal, the longsword let out an even more ear-piercing sword hum. A dragon-like sword light flew out and struck the true Qilin seal like a hot knife through butter. There was a dense explosion and a surging gale. Purple and green twin swords. After the true Qilin seal was broken, Marquis Qianming continued to attack. The 2 mid-grade Dao artifact purple and green twin swords flew out from his 2 arms. They dragged long sword tails and constantly evolved into sets of mysterious sword moves to attack the longsword. He wanted to suppress its attack. The attack between Marquis Qianming and the mysterious longsword became more and more intense. The powerful force caused the air above the cold pond to constantly distort. Even the strange rocks that were filled with illusions began to crack. Mo Fengyun, if the Marquis Qianming fails to subdue the supreme-grade Dao sword, Yi Chenfeng secretly fused the sword soul into Mo Fengyun's body. Although he knew that even if Mo Fengyun used the power of the sword soul to subdue the supreme-grade Dao sword, it would still be taken away by the experts of the Kirin Kingdom. However, he didn't mind. With the strength of a chaos divine beast, it was enough to kill the Marquis of Qianming and Old Zhe. Therefore, there was not much difference between him and the Marquis of Qianming. Demon Snake Seal, suppress. Unable to suppress the supreme grade Dao sword, the Marquis of Qianming had a thought. The Demon Snake Seal, which was suspended above his head, descended with Dao will to protect his body. With hundreds of millions of kilograms of power, it ruthlessly suppressed the supreme grade Dao sword. Kachacha, after taking a hit from the Demon Serpent Seal, the supreme grade Dao sword was not damaged at all. However, the illusory strange stone could not withstand the power of the Gu Dao treasure. Cracks immediately appeared on it, spewing out a large amount of illusory power that confused the Marquis of Qianming, causing his reaction to become slightly slower. Although he recovered in a split second, the supreme quality sword grasped the opportunity and split into an extremely terrifying streak of light. It landed on his body, piercing through his defenses and sending him flying. A large amount of blood flowed from the wound on his chest. The Marquis. When the two level 9 heavenly beasts saw that the Marquis of Qianming was injured, they did not hesitate to fly over and protect him behind them. They exploded with powerful demonic power and shattered the streaks of sword light that were attacking them. They protected the heavily injured Marquis of Qianming and retreated to the side of the lake. Marquis, are you okay? Seeing that the Marquis of Qianming was heavily injured, Old Zhe, Hemingway Map, and the others all came forward and asked with concern. The Marquis of Qianming was fine. He took an elixir and said unwillingly, "If I am not wrong, there is a terrifying soul hidden in that supreme quality Dao sword. If you want to subdue that sword, you must destroy the soul in the sword." "Marquis, why don't you let me try?" Under Yi Chenfeng's instructions, Mo Fengyun said bravely to protect himself. "You." The Marquis of Qianming frowned slightly. He looked at the cold-faced Mo Fengyun and said with surprise. However, Hemingway Map, Yu Yuan, and the others all revealed a disdainful smile. In their opinion, even the most powerful Marquis of Qianming and Old Zhe could not subdue that supreme quality Dao sword. With Mo Fengyun's strength, it was no different from suicide to forcibly subdue that sword. "I should have a way to subdue that sword." "Marquis, please let me try," Mo Fengyun said with neither arrogance nor humility. "Since you want to try, then go ahead." The Marquis of Qianming did not have much hope for Mo Fengyun, and said lightly, "Thank you, Marquis." Then, Mo Fengyun flew up into the void. He stepped on the void and slowly approached the supreme quality Dao sword that was stuck in the strange cracked rock. Because the strange rock was severely damaged, the power of the illusion was greatly weakened. It could not affect Mo Fengyun at all. In an instant, he passed through the illusion and approached the supreme quality Dao sword. He summoned the ghost-killing array diagram to protect his body. Ghost-killing array diagram, suppress. Mo Fengyun spat out a mouthful of essence blood into the ghost-killing array diagram, activating its attacking power. Instantly, a creepy ghost cry rang out from the ghost-killing array diagram. A large number of array runes gushed out of the ghost-killing array diagram like a tide, attacking the supreme grade Dao sword. After being attacked by the ghost-killing array diagram again, the supreme quality Dao sword continued to split into powerful sword radiances. They crushed the array patterns and attacked Mo Fengyun's body. Mo Fengyun was forced to control the ghost-killing array diagram in front of him to block the sword radiances. However, the supreme quality Dao sword's attack was too terrifying. The ghost-killing array diagram had a hard time blocking it. Seeing that the sword radiances were tearing the ghost-killing array diagram apart, a large number of myriad transformations black lotuses split out of his body and attacked the supreme quality Dao sword from all directions. Boom, 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 boom. Deafening explosions rang out. The entire space was instantly plunged into chaos. Billowing black energy dyed the space black. Just as the entire space was in chaos and was covered by the black storm, Mo Fengyun shot out the sword soul hidden in his palm. It flew towards the supreme quality Tao sword at an extremely fast speed. The sword soul was extremely powerful and was the nemesis of souls. When it flew into the supreme quality Tao sword, it immediately fought fiercely with the soul hidden in the Tao sword. In order to not be seen through by the Marquis of Qianming and the others, Mo Fengyun kept condensing myriad transformations black lotuses to attack the supreme quality Tao sword. They formed a black storm that kept erupting. It covered the entire space and blocked everyone's vision and soul detection. Is there something wrong with Mo Fengyun's brain? Is such a large-scale attack useful? Seeing Mo Fengyun condensing myriad transformations black lotuses to attack at all costs, Hemingway Map, Sakuragi and the others sneered. However, they did not know that the soul in the Tao sword could no longer withstand the sword soul's destructive attack. Its entire soul body was riddled with holes. Finally, under the attack of the sword soul's 10th level sword essence, the mysterious soul body was torn apart by the sword soul and disappeared into the supreme quality Tao sword. Collect. Sensing that the mysterious soul in the supreme quality Tao sword had disappeared, Mo Fengyun did not hesitate. He controlled the Tao sword to form a large hand and grabbed the supreme quality Tao sword that had lost its resistance. Under the shocked gazes of the Marquis of Qianming and the others, the supreme quality Tao sword flew back into his hand. Mobile reading site, book address. In order to make it easier for you to read it next time, you can click on the Collect button below to record this reading record. You will see it the next time you open the bookshelf. Please recommend this book to your friends, QQ, blog, WeChat, etc. Thank you for your support.